Chapter 292. The man had a head full of white hair and a waist-length beard. He looked like an immortal. He was Elder Yueli. He stood in front of Xiang Tiechi and said, "Xiang Tiechi, as a member of the Divine Elephant Clan, do you know what this means?" "Haha," Xiang Tiechi laughed. "No one knows what will happen if you all die. Blame yourself for being a human for meddling in the Demon Clan's business." Xiang Tiechi said, "Meddling? We only follow the orders of the Demon King. If you do this, you will anger the Demon King and implicate the Divine Elephant Clan." Elder Yueli said, "Implicate the Divine Elephant Clan? The way I see it, you guys are really not ordinary fools. When we eliminate the 4 generals of the Demon King, the Demon King will not be able to protect himself. Think about what's in front of you." Then, Xiang Tiechi's joints made cracking sounds. His whole body expanded rapidly, and in the blink of an eye, he turned into a 100-meter-tall giant elephant. The giant elephant emitted a dazzling golden light, making it hard for people to open their eyes. Seeing this, everyone's expression changed. Such a strong golden light. Xiang Tiechi's divine, elephant overpowering strength has probably reached the 10th level. What? The 10th level? Then his strength is also that of an immortal. This Xiang Tiechi really hit it well. What should we do? Can Elder Yueli deal with him? Don't worry, Elder Yueli and the Earth Venerable are both Demon King generals. How can they not have some strength? Plus, it's 2 against 1. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the sky. Their hearts were in their throats, and they were extremely nervous. Hee, looks like you're confident of winning? Since that's the case, let this old man fight you. Elder Yueli looked at the Earth Venerable and said, "Disciple, I will leave them to you to protect. Don't worry, Master. As long as I'm alive, no one can hurt them." The Earth Venerable said, "All right." Elder Yueli nodded and stared at Xiang Rudi as he walked towards him. Every step he took made the heaven and earth tremble, and the light disappeared temporarily. Elder Yueli's body overflowed with layers of white light, as bright as moonlight. As he got closer to Xiang Rudi, the light on his body became brighter. Overall, it looked like a glowing gem in the shape of a human, extremely beautiful. Buzz suddenly, old man Yueli disappeared, and when he reappeared, he was already in front of Xiang Tiechi. He raised his fist and threw a punch at him. Buzz, the air was distorted by the collision. Just in time, Xiang Tiechi coldly snorted. His elephant trunk danced wildly, creating a whirlwind that blasted towards old man Yueli. Boom! With a loud bang, heaven and earth trembled. The great city barrier formation and the red net trembled incessantly, as if they were about to collapse. Thud! Xiang Tiechi's body was pushed back, and he had to use a lot of strength to stabilize himself. He looked at old man Yueli with fear in his eyes. "All right, well done, old man Yueli mighty." Exclamations and applause rang out continuously. Everyone's faces were filled with excitement. Xiang Tiechi stared at the ground with a look of hatred on his face. "Since that's the case, all of you can die." Sizzle, above the immortal vanquishing formation, countless red electric arcs lit up, like a waterfall, sprinkling layer by layer. It looked like it could not stop at all. "Old man, I'm going to fight you." After that, Xiang Ruba went straight to old man Yueli. Boom! For a moment, the 2 of them fought together, and the sound of explosions continued. Humph! The Earth Venerable looked at the electric arcs sprinkling in the sky and waved his right hand. Phew! On the ground, endless layers of powder rushed to the sky, condensed into layers of dust shield, and blended together. Sizzle! The electric arcs kept sprinkling, madly hitting the dust shield. Boom! The shield was distorted, and the sound of explosions kept ringing. The Earth Venerable frowned, madly drawing power to supplement the shield. The immortal vanquishing formation did not have a trace of electric arcs falling. Boom! In the sky, old man Yueli and Xiang Tiechi were locked in a fierce battle. The great city barrier formation kept twisting. Everyone's heart seemed to jump out of their throat, very nervous. Is this a battle between immortals? Too scary. I didn't expect that old man Yueli actually fought with Xiang Tiechi with only his body really powerful. This power won't break the Great City Barrier Formation, right? Not to that extent. This Great City Barrier Formation, unless it's a supreme immortal, it really can't be broken. A moment later, boom! Xiang Tiechi's body flew backward, hitting the Great City Barrier Formation, making a loud sound. Puff! A mouthful of blood came out from Xiang Tiechi's mouth. He struggled several times, but could not stand up. Phew! Old man Yueli stood in front of Xiang Tiechi. Speak, who ordered you? Huh, don't even think about it. Xiang Tiechi's face was determined. Since you don't want to speak, then you can die, Old man Yueli said. The one who will die is you. Xiang Tiechi roared, struggled to stand up, used all his strength, and madly rushed towards Old man Yueli. Humph! Overestimating yourself. Old man Yueli coldly snorted, unhurriedly stretched out his hand, and blasted at Xiang Tiechi. Boom! Boom! Two loud sounds. Xiang Tiechi and Old man Yueli's body flew back at the same time, heavily hitting the Great City Barrier Formation. Old man Yueli's light instantly dimmed by 90%. Mouthfuls of black blood came out from Old man Yueli's mouth. One hit, serious injury. The one who attacked was a green-robed man, wearing a mask on his face, making people unable to see his face clearly. This scene directly scared everyone silly. Uneasiness, surging all over their body. Master, Earth Venerable let out a roar. Don't worry about me. Protect them. Old man Yueli struggled to stand up, looking at the green-robed man not far away, his face full of fear. Looks like you're the mastermind behind this. Old man Yueli asked. Ah, the green-robed man laughed, slightly shaking his head. Dead people don't need to know. Racking your brains just to kill us. What benefit does this bring to you? Old man Yueli said. I said, dead people don't need to know. The green-robed man's figure flashed, instantly disappearing. When he reappeared, he was already in front of Old man Yueli. Old man Yueli's face changed, madly drawing his body's strength to block the green-robed man's punch. Boom! Without any accident, Old man Yueli's body flew back, heavily hitting the Great City Barrier Formation. Puff! A mouthful of blood sprayed all over the sky. At this moment, Old man Yueli could not stand up. No! Earth Venerable let out an unwilling roar. Madly drawing his body's strength, blasted upwards. Boom! The loud sound continued. The red net trembled violently, as if it was about to burst open. An ant, overestimating yourself. The green-robed man waved his right hand, turning off the exterminating immortal great array. Who? His figure instantly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already standing in front of Earth Venerable. Boom! A punch directly hit Earth Venerable. Boom! Earth Venerable's body flew, heavily falling to the ground, dust rising to the sky. Chapter 293. Boom! The earthly Venerable fell to the ground, and the ground exploded. The aftershock swept out in all directions, and everywhere it passed, everything was crushed into powder. Within a radius of half a mile, regardless of whether it was the houses, demonic cultivators, or human cultivators, they were all vaporized. The terrifying dust formed a mushroom cloud that soared into the sky. After a long time, the surroundings gradually calmed down. What should we do? Two immortals are no match for him. This is a conspiracy. We will definitely die. The tables had turned, and everyone fell into despair. In front of such an expert, any struggle was futile. Phew! The green-robed man waved his right hand, and a force enveloped Elder Yueli and the earthly Venerable, bringing them before him. At this moment, the two of them were already on the verge of death and didn't have the slightest strength to struggle. No, please don't kill them. Someone save these two immortals. Such a good person can't die like this. Cries of despair continued to ring out in the sky. If you do this, the Demon Emperor will not let you off, Old man Yueli said. The green-robed man didn't say anything. He just stood there calmly. Ha! Xiang Tiechi struggled to stand up and looked at old Lady Yueli. That old witch can't even protect herself. How would she have the chance to care about you? Just as he finished speaking, what did you just say? At this moment, a voice resounded in all directions. His voice wasn't loud, but it was filled with anger. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice, and their pupils constricted. That's young Master Sun Hao. He made a move? Could he be an immortal? Everyone's faces were filled with joy and worry. Their eyes were all fixed on Sun Hao, motionless. Sun Hao, with a red puppy, stepped on the air step by step, walked to Xiang Tiechi, and looked at him coldly. His gaze swept over. Instantly, Xiang Tiechi's body shuddered. He was horrified to find that his strength was rapidly draining away. Something was not right. In his body, the power was still there, but it was not under his control. He had been sealed. What was going on? How could a mortal possess such a technique? What did you just say? Say it again. Sun Hao's voice was cold, and his killing intent rose. Ruma was his family. Wasn't her mother also his relative? How can we forgive you for insulting our family like this? It was inconvenient for Ru Meng to take action, but he had nothing to worry about. Who exactly are you? Xiang Tiechi's voice trembled. Wrong answer. Teach him a lesson, but don't kill him. As soon as these words came out, swish, the blood wolf turned into a flash of lightning and pounced towards Xiang Tiechi. Ow! Shrill screams shook the sky. When Xue Lang returned to his side, Xiang Tiechi's body was covered with cuts and bruises. He floated in the air, wailing mournfully. The green-robed man's expression kept changing when he saw this. The strength of that savage beast is probably far above mine. Damn it, I didn't notice it before. I didn't expect it to be hiding its strength. What should we do now? The green-robed man retreated slowly with Old Man Yue and the terrestrial venerable. Did I let you go? A sound was heard. The green-robed man's body trembled, and he used his hand to stop Old Man Yue. Don't come over, otherwise I will kill the two of them. Kill him? Sun Hao turned around, and his gaze fell on the green-robed man in an instant. Suddenly, the green-robed man's body trembled, feeling as if his whole body had lost its strength. This is impossible? One look, and my whole body's strength was sealed? Even if he is an immortal king, it is impossible to be so strong. The green-robed man's voice trembled, and his whole body trembled. He looked at Sun Hao, full of horror. The next second, his scalp was numb. He didn't know when, but Xue Lang had already come to him, and the terrifying claws fell on him. No! A cry of unwillingness rang out. The green-robed man's body flew out upside down, slamming heavily on the city protection array, vomiting blood. You forced me to do this. No matter who you are, don't even think about saving them. All of you go to hell. On the other side, Xiang Tiechi let out a roar. A wisp of undetectable light flew out of his body. Immediately afterward, buzz, the immortal vanquishing array lit up with a dazzling red light. Wisps of electric light, moving quickly, bursting out a soul-stirring aura. Not good. He wants to blow up Beiluo City. It's over. I'm finished. Young Master Sun Hao run. Shouts kept ringing. Many people were paralyzed directly to the ground, without any strength. Seeing this scene, Xiang Tiechi's face was full of a cold smile. Seeing that a waterfall of electric light was about to fall into the city. At this time, howl! A beast's roar shook the world. Xue Lang's body changed rapidly, and in the blink of an eye, it turned into a giant beast with a height of 100 meters. Overbearing and mighty, its aura was monstrous. Xue Lang stretched out his shocking claws and slapped down. Gotcha! The sound of eggshells cracking sounded. All the stone tablets in the city collapsed into powder. The blood-colored electric light all disappeared. With just a light blow, the immortal vanquishing array was shattered. This is impossible. Xiang Tiechi looked at this scene in a daze, his face full of disbelief. As soon as he looked up, he found that Xue Lang was already standing in front of him. The two giant beast bodies were not much different. However, their auras were far apart. Howl! Xue Lang roared, stretched out his claws, aimed at Xiang Tiechi, and blasted down. Don't! The unwilling cry stopped abruptly. At the moment when the claws fell, Xiang Tiechi's huge body directly evaporated into nothingness. After doing this, Xuelang's body shrank rapidly and returned to Sun Hao's side. Well done. Sun Hao touched Xuelang's head. Woo. After Xuelang heard it, he kept wagging his tail, very happy. Such a scene, in the eyes of everyone below, all stood in place. They looked up at the sky, opened their mouths, and murmured for a long time without saying a word. Shock, gratitude, awe, all kinds of emotions surged through everyone's heart. Afterward, they cried with joy and hugged each other. Sun, the savage beast beside young Master Sun Hao, I'm afraid it's already in the profound immortal realm. Absolutely more than that. Destroying the array without hurting us. This power control is definitely an Earth Immortal, or even a Heaven Immortal. What? The Heaven Immortal is actually young Master Sun Hao's pet. How strong is young Master Sun Hao? Terrifying, unimaginable. Speaking of this, the sound of gasping came one after another. Everyone looked at Sun Hao with gratitude and worship. Thank you, young Master Sun Hao, for saving my life. Everyone knelt down and kowtowed to Sun Hao. Sun Hao looked at this scene in a daze, and his inner emotions were extremely complicated. There was a touch of embarrassment on his face. It felt good to borrow Ru Meng's power to pretend again. He couldn't help it. Who asked him to scold Ru Meng's mother? He really couldn't control himself. Don't be polite. Everyone, get up, Sun Hao said. Thank you, young master. Everyone stood up one after another, worshipping Sun Hao, constantly sweeping over him. At this moment, Sun Hao was like a superstar, attracting everyone's attention. Hee, you're happy too early. At this moment, a voice sounded. Chapter 294. The old man Yuli and the earth venerable looked at Sun Hao, and the expressions on their faces kept changing. After the two swallowed the medicinal pills, they walked forward, knelt in front of Sun Hao, and kowtowed in salute. Thank you, young master, for saving my life. Don't be so polite. Sun Hao helped the two up. What you two have done makes me admire you very much. It's a blessing to have you in the world. Sun Hao said, Young master's praise, we are ashamed. Our strength is still too weak. It is a blessing for all races to have a capable person like young master in the world. The old man Yueli said. He knew that it was flattery, but it sounded particularly comfortable. Sun Hao smiled slightly, took out 20 bottles of immortal wine from his arms, and handed 10 bottles to each of them. You too, this is a little immortal wine brewed by me. Please accept it. Thank you, young master. The two took the immortal wine and saluted with their fists. After that, without looking at it, they threw it into the soul space. Young master, amazing. Young master is really a model for our generation. Below, the sound of admiration kept ringing. Everyone's face was full of joy. You are happy too early. At this moment, a sound rang out. This abrupt sound woke everyone up with a start. All of you die with me. A roar shook the world. Looking up, his pupils shrank, and his face changed dramatically. Only to see, the city protection array was trembling violently, and the light above was getting weaker and weaker. Subsequently, Kacha, a crack spread rapidly around like a spiderweb. Boom! There was an explosion. The city protection array collapsed instantly. Everyone knew very well what it meant without the city protection array. As long as there was a space turbulence, everyone would be pulled into it. At that time, their bodies and souls would be destroyed, and they would never be reincarnated. Compared with death, this was 10,000 times more terrible. Not good. The city protection array is broken. Damn it. This is trying to pull us down together. Run, run. The whole city fell into chaos. Everyone's face was full of horror. That kind of despair was 10 times stronger than before. They quickly rushed toward the city gate, trying to escape the city. It was just that it was too late. At the moment when the city protection array collapsed, Kacha, a thunderbolt crossed the sky. His voice shook heaven and earth. Everyone was so shocked that they trembled. They raised their heads to look at the sky, and they couldn't help but feel their scalps go numb. Their bodies were ice cold. The sky seemed to have been torn into two halves by someone and was expanding rapidly. It was as if a huge heavenly eye was staring at everyone. In the crack, Phew. The spatial turbulence continued to howl. The terrifying might made one's scalp go numb. Every time it whistled through the air, it would cause people to tremble. Phew. Inside the crack, countless black threads were rapidly falling, layer upon layer, like a woman's hair floating down. Just one look was enough to make one shudder with fear. The appearance of these black threads caused the surroundings to darken in an instant. What the hell is this? How did the spatial turbulence become like this? Help! Help! That heaven, I was like an abyss from hell, sending out nothing but despair. The black threads came closer and closer. That cold and chilling aura was emitted from it, covering all of Westfall City. At this moment, everyone felt as if they were being strangled, unable to make a sound. Their widened eyes were filled with endless fear. Their legs trembled uncontrollably. Thump, thump, one by one, they crawled on the ground, shivering. On the entire field, only Sun Hao was standing. Even Bloodwolf and Huang Rumang were no exception. Buzz, the heaven I trembled, and the cold aura enveloped Sun Hao. All the black threads flew rapidly and wrapped towards Sun Hao. Sun Hao stood in place, his face full of horror. It's terrible. What are these things? Is it a woman's hair? What will happen if I'm entangled? In Sun Hao's heart, 10,000 thoughts were formed. With Rumling here, what's there to be afraid of? I'd like to see what you can do. Sun Hao snorted coldly, his expression serious, his eyes shining, and directly swept toward the black threads in the sky. Immediately, squeak, a shrill scream came from the crack in the sky. All the black threads, like an electric shock, quickly retracted. In the blink of an eye, they all retracted into the crack in the sky. My lord, I'm sorry. After this sound came from the crack, it quickly closed and disappeared without a trace. At this moment, the pressure dissipated and everyone stood up in turn. They looked at Sun Hao in a daze, and the expressions on their faces changed. Just now, did you hear it? I'm not deaf. How can I not hear it? In the turbulence of the sky, there must be some powerful existence. That's not nonsense. That kind of existence makes us unable to resist at all. Don't say it. My legs are still shaking now, and I can't control them at all. That kind of powerful existence actually apologized to young Master Sun Hao. How strong do you think young Master Sun Hao is? Unimaginable. It's an existence that we look up to, worship, awe, mystery. All kinds of expressions were written on everyone's faces. On the other side, the green-robed man looked at this scene, and the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. That kind of shock and disbelief was written all over his face. What kind of existence is he? He can actually make this space turbulence retreat. This is impossible. This is absolutely impossible. How can there be such an existence in this world? The green-robed man kept shaking his head, unwilling to believe everything in front of him. Then, he struggled to stand up and carefully stepped back. However, a gaze swept over. Suddenly, his whole person seemed to be anesthetized, unable to move. The only thing that could move was his mouth. His body flew out uncontrollably and fell straight in front of Sun Hao. Who the hell are you? The green-robed man looked at Sun Hao, his face full of unwillingness. You only have one chance, say. Who are you? Why did you do this? Sun Hao looked at the green-robed man, his face full of killing intent. Just now, with so much air, I was scared half to death. If I don't kill you, it will be difficult to vent my hatred. You want to kill me? Old man Yueli, Earth Venerable, I advise you to stop him quickly. Otherwise, Demon Emperor, the words were not finished. Wrong answer. Boom! Two sounds sounded at the same time. Sun Hao's fist directly hit the green-robed man's head. His body exploded into a fine powder and disappeared. After killing the green-robed man, his whole mood was much better. Let's go, Big Wolf. Sun Hao looked at the Blood Wolf and shouted. The Blood Wolf struggled to get up, his whole body still trembling slightly. He looked at the sky, revealing a look of incomparable fear. Then, he looked at Sun Hao again, and the light of worship was written all over his face. It flew up the road and kept wagging its tail around Sun Hao. Let's go. Sun Hao looked at the ground, and a sense of dizziness came. He carefully stepped forward and walked toward the ground step by step. Returning to Huang Rumeng, Sun Hao took a long breath. Today it was really scary. Young master. Huang Rumeng quickly ran forward and threw herself into Sun Hao's arms. Chapter 295. We're still alive. The terrestrial venerable touched his face, feeling that everything was unreal. It's not easy. That was truly terrifying. Old man Yuli nodded slightly. Master, I didn't hear wrongly, did I? The terrestrial venerable asked. What? You heard it too? Old man Yuli was startled. Just now, he thought that he was suffering from auditory hallucinations due to the shock. If his disciple heard it, wouldn't that mean? The more he thought about it, the more shocked old man Yuli was. His heart couldn't help but beat violently. Yes, master. The terrestrial venerable nodded slightly. As soon as these words came out, dong dong, old man Yuli's heart almost jumped out of his throat. It seems that young Master Sun Hao's identity is not simple. Old man Yuli looked at Sun Hao, and the light on his face changed. Master, was that terrifying existence just now really afraid of young Master Sun Hao? There was still a trace of disbelief on the Earth Venerable's face. Didn't you notice? Everyone is crawling on the ground. Only young Master Sun Hao is completely fine. That terrifying existence also noticed this scene and directly exerted pressure on young Master Sun Hao. In the end, young Master Sun Hao just glanced at it and scared away such a terrifying existence. Old man Yuli said. Hearing this, the earthly venerable nodded secretly. Hiss, the two of them sucked in a breath of cold air. For a time, he could not calm down at all. Master, I didn't expect there to be such a powerful being in this world. The earthly venerable said. Yes. Elder Yuli nodded slightly. Young Master Sun Hao is not only omnipotent, but his mind is also incomparably broad. Generally speaking, in the eyes of such a person, we are like ants that he can kill at will. However, young Master Sun Hao is kind-hearted. Not only did he not kill us, he even saved us from disaster. Such breadth of mind has never been seen since ancient times. Old man Yuli said. Yes, master. The terrestrial venerable nodded. After we thank young master, we will immediately return to Phoenix City. I'm afraid the demon Phoenix is in great danger. Old man Yuli said. Master, the Earth Vein Transportation Formation has been completely destroyed. How do we go back? The earthly venerable asked. Run back. Old man Yuli said. Aren't you going to 2 City to take the Earth Vein Teleportation Formation? Asked the terrestrial venerable. Old man Yuli shook his head. Since the other party came prepared, then the 2 City transmission array must have been destroyed. Let's run back. That's the fastest and safest way. Let's go and thank the young master first. Yes, master. The two flew down and stood respectfully in front of Sun Hao without disturbing him. Huang Rumeng looked up and quickly broke free from Sun Hao's arms. She blushed and retreated to the side. Fortunately, it didn't discover my identity. Huang Rumeng muttered. Thank you for saving my life, young master. Old man Yuli brought the Earth Venerable and knelt directly in front of Sun Hao, kneeling 3 times and kowtowing 9 times. Thank you for saving my life, young master. With the 2 of them taking the lead, the others also knelt down and kowtowed. You don't have to be polite. Please get up. Sun Hao shouted. Many thanks, young master. Everyone stood up. Their faces were filled with gratitude. Young master, we still have matters to attend to, so we'll take our leave first. Old man Yuli stepped forward and said. And take care. Sun Hao nodded. Young master, we will remember your great kindness in our hearts. If there is a chance, we will definitely repay you. After speaking, old man Yuli took the Earth Venerable and strode away. Soon, he disappeared in the crowd and disappeared. There were more and more people around Sun Hao. Everyone's faces were shining, waiting for Sun Hao to sell the immortal wine. No wonder the young master sold the immortal wine without fear of people robbing. The strength of the young master had already made the terrifying existence bow down. Presumably, the immortal wine sold by the young master must be brewed by himself. Not good. Sun Hao looked at the teleportation array and couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. He saw that the teleportation array had already broken into pieces. Now, it was completely impossible to repair it. To build one again, it would not be done in a short time. Even if it was him, it would take a few days. Moreover, it had to be built in 2 different places. In other words, he had to build one here first, and then go to Phoenix City to build one before it could be opened. It was so troublesome that it was much easier to go directly to Phoenix City. Rumung must be anxious. Let's accompany her to Phoenix City first. Thinking like this, Sun Hao swept his eyes to Huang Rumung. But he saw her eyebrows wrinkled, and there was a trace of worry on her face. It's been so many days. Why haven't I replied to the message yet? Did something really happen to the Heavenly Fox clan? Huang Rumung muttered to herself. Rumung, what's wrong? Sun Hao came forward. Young master, I'm afraid something happened to a good friend of mine. Huang Rumung said. Good friend? Then let's go find her? Sun Hao asked. And Huang Rumung nodded. Young master, then let's go ask the city lord first. Okay. The 2 disappeared in place instantly with Bloodwolf. What? Young master left. I regret it so much. Why didn't I buy immortal wine? I'm a fucking fool, even making fun of the immortal wine sold by young master. Many people beat their chests and stamp their feet, regretting it. South of Northfall, Immortal City. Who? 2 figures were sprinting at high speed. These 2 people were the old man Yuli and the Earth Venerable. Suddenly, the old man Yuli stopped. Master, what's wrong with you? The Earth Venerable asked. I always feel something is wrong. The old man Yuli said. What's wrong? The Earth Venerable asked. The immortal wine sold by a character like young master should not be simple. Let's take it out and see. Okay. The 2 of them each took out a bottle of immortal wine, opened the cap, and couldn't help but shrink their pupils. Their eyes were shining brightly, flickering. Their voices trembled, and they didn't say a complete sentence for a long time. After taking a few breaths of cold air, the 2 calmed down. I'm a fool. I didn't even buy this kind of immortal wine. The old man Yueli's face was full of remorse. Disciple, I'm ashamed. Master, this is not your fault. If we buy it, I'm afraid the young master may not still give us immortal wine. The Earth Venerable said. This is reasonable. The old man Yueli nodded slightly. However, for a character like the young master to give us immortal wine, I'm afraid he has other intentions. Master, I think the young master must have calculated that the monster emperor is in a big crisis. He must want us to increase our strength and quickly go back to support. The Earth Venerable said. It makes sense. Let's drink a few bottles of immortal wine first, cultivate for a while, and then go back. This will definitely be faster. The old man, Yueli, said. Yes, master. The 2 of them turned into a rush and went quickly. A moment later, they came to a cave and rushed directly inside. Sitting cross-legged on the ground, he picked up a bottle of immortal wine, poured it into his mouth, and swallowed it in one gulp. Infinite immortal power, surging through the whole body. The 2 realms' physical body, soul, state of mind, were improving rapidly. Chapter 296. City Lord Residence. Luoxian looked at the sky, unable to calm down for a long time. Everything that happened just now was simply unimaginable and unimaginable. I didn't expect young Master Sun Hao to be such a mighty figure. I should have thought of this earlier. This immortal wine is sold so cheaply. Who else would be willing to do that? Luoxian murmured to himself, his eyes shining brightly. Suddenly, buzz, the air in front of Luoxian shook and rippled. 2 figures walked out of the ripples. It was Sun Hao. Greetings, young master. Seeing Sun Hao, Luoxian's eyes lit up. Without thinking, he knelt in front of Sun Hao and saluted respectfully. City Lord, you're welcome. Sun Hao helped Luoxian up. Many thanks, young master. Luoxian looked at Sun Hao, and the light of worship kept flashing. Young master, you can call me Xiaoxian. Young master, not only did you save me, but you also saved the people of our city. We will never forget this great kindness. Luoxian was excited. Sun Hao's face showed a touch of shame. Actually, all of this had nothing to do with him. Everything was done by Ru Meng. Calming down, Sun Hao looked at Hu Luo Xian. Xiao Xian, you're welcome. I came to you today because I have something to ask you. Young master, please speak. I will definitely answer everything I know. Hu Luo Xian said. Are you from the Heavenly Fox clan? Sun Hao said. Hearing this, Hu Luoxian's body trembled and his face was filled with shock. Phew! His 2 ears directly transformed into fox ears. Yes, young master. Hu Luoxian nodded. Then you should know Hu Luoadi, right? Sun Hao asked. Young master, you know little sister? Hu Luoxian's eyes lit up. Well, I guess so. Sun Hao nodded. Why can't I contact Hu Luoadi recently? Sigh. Hu Luoxian let out a heavy sigh. Young master, it's a long story. My clan is in great danger now. Little sister sent me here to wait for an immortal named Godly Cunning Immortal. Only the Godly Cunning Immortal can save us. Hu Luoxian lowered his head, looking dispirited. As soon as these words came out, Huang Ruming's body trembled slightly. The name of the Godly Cunning Immortal was left by himself. It would not break the young master's Tao heart, right? Not long ago, he contacted Hu Luoadi and said that he would come to Demon Ancestral Mountain in a few days. He didn't expect that she would send someone to wait for him. What had happened to the Heavenly Fox clan? Seeing Huang Ruming's reaction, Sun Hao frowned slightly, revealing a thoughtful look. A bold idea was brewing in his mind. Could it be that Rumeng is Godly Cunning Immortal? Absolutely. Miss Xiaolan, Miss Yiling, Miss Lu Yin, they all know the Godly Cunning Immortal. Other than Ru Meng, who else could be by my side? I should have known. So, it turns out that the person I want to worship is right beside me. Isn't it a little silly for me to search for him so bitterly? The more he thought about it, the more brilliant Sun Hao's eyes became. As long as he collected enough blessing points, he would worship Ru Meng as his master. Wasn't Yang was wife Xiao Longnu? What's wrong with that? No wonder when I first saw Ru Meng, there weren't any energy waves on her body. It turns out that she's cultivating as a mortal. In that case, the dreamlike Tao heart must not be broken. Also, Ru Meng can't directly reveal her identity. In that case, then let me be the Godly Cunning Immortal. Thinking like this, Sun Hao secretly nodded. City Lord, actually, I am the Godly Cunning Immortal. Sun Hao said. Although there was no change in the expression on his face, he was actually ashamed. He actually admitted that he was the Godly Cunning Immortal. So shameful. However, as long as the dreamlike Tao heart was not broken, everything was fine. As soon as these words came out, it was not only Hu Luoxian who was surprised, but even Huang Rumeng was stunned in place. Not good. Young master knows that he is the Godly Cunning Immortal. Young master's Tao heart is not broken, right? It seems not. Seeing that Sun Hao's breath was normal and his face was calm, Huang Rumeng was relieved. Young master, you are the Godly Cunning Immortal? Hu Luoxian's eyes widened, revealing incredible surprise. Why, don't believe me? Sun Hao pretended to be angry. No. Hu Luoxian waved his hand repeatedly. Young master, I am too happy. Plop. Hu Luoxian knelt on the ground and kowtowed in salute. Young master, please save our Heavenly Fox clan. I beg of you, even if you let me work like a cow or a horse, I will never frown. After speaking, Hu Luoxian kept kowtowing. Get up first. Sun Hao helped Hu Luoxian up and looked back to see Huang Rumeng nodding. I can promise you, but you have to tell me what happened. Young master, actually, I don't know what happened. I only remember that day. After the little sister passed the immortal tribulation, she sent us out, saying that something big happened. She knew that you would come to Demon Ancestor Mountain, so she asked us to wait for you in the 4 major cities. I didn't expect that I really expected you to come. The heavens have eyes. Hu Luoxian's body trembled with excitement. You don't know what's going on? Sun Hao frowned slightly, a thoughtful look. Yes, young master. Why don't we go to 2 cities first? I think we can find out the situation there. Hu Luoxian said. Okay, let's not delay, let's go now. After Sun Hao finished speaking, he waved his right hand, and several people disappeared instantly. When they appeared again, they had already arrived at the southeast side of Beiluo City. After landing, Sun Hao said, "Lead the way." "Yes, young master." Hu Luoxian looked at the sky, and after confirming that it was safe, he quickly ran forward. Huang Rumeng and Sun Hao followed closely, and then Shuelang followed closely. "Tell me about Tu City and Tushan." Sun Hao said, "Yes, young master. Tu City is the closest city to Tushan. It is twice the size of Beiluo City. 90% of the people living on both sides are demon cultivators." Hu Luoxian said, "So, there's still 10% human cultivators?" Sun Hao asked. "Not bad. These human cultivators are basically immortal medicine vendors," Hu Luoxian said. Hearing this, Sun Hao nodded secretly. "Then does your Heavenly Fox clan live in Tushan?" Sun Hao asked. "Yes, young master. We usually don't come out except to sell herbs," Hu Luoxian said. "Then who is the strongest in your Heavenly Fox clan?" Sun Hao asked. "Of course, it is the old ancestor Hu Yuehong." Speaking of this, Hu Luoxian's face showed a touch of arrogance. "My clan's old ancestor cultivates the insulating claw, which can break all the laws in the world. It can be said that in the same realm, no one is the old ancestor's opponent." Insulating claw? Sun Hao frowned slightly. It sounded so powerful. If there was a chance, he must see it. With such a strong person in charge, presumably, Tushan should be fine. Since your old ancestor is so strong, there should be no danger. Sun Hao said, "Young master, there are countless strong people in this world, and there are so many people who are stronger than my old ancestor that they can't be counted. My little Tushan in the whole universe, what is it?" Speaking of this, Hu Luoxian lowered his head with a bitter face. "Don't be discouraged. As long as you work hard, I believe that one day you will stand proudly at the peak." Sun Hao patted Hu Luoxian's shoulder and said, Hu Luoxian nodded heavily, his eyes shining with inextinguishable light. "Let's speed up." "Okay." Chapter 297. Milky Way Galaxy on a certain planet with life. In the middle of the ocean, in an ancient building shaped like a divine dragon, a golden-robed, red-bearded man with a dragon horn on his head sat on the main seat. This man was the Milky Way Dragon King. In his hand, there was a jade bottle. Opening the jade bottle, the Milky Way Dragon King's pupils constricted, his face full of shock. I just took a deep breath, and it's equivalent to half a month of cultivation. I'm a 9th-grade celestial king. This immortal wine is actually able to allow me to grow so quickly. The Milky Way Dragon King muttered to himself and only calmed down after a long while. He looked up at the red-armored man in front of him. "Are you sure this is being sold by a human?" "Your Majesty, I dare not lie. This thing is indeed sold by a person named Sun Hao. I think this thing is brewed by him," the man in red armor said. Sun Hao. The Milky Way Dragon frowned and pondered. He had never heard of this name before. To be able to brew such a peerless immortal brew, the person's strength was definitely not simple. If he went over rashly and was not a match for them, wouldn't he end up dead? In addition, news of this immortal brew would eventually reach the ears of the hegemons. If he blamed her, wouldn't she have to bear the consequences? Just in case, he had to immediately report this matter to the hegemon. Even if the sovereign didn't act personally, he would most likely send a few immortal paragons. In this way, I will be absolutely safe. After careful consideration, the Galactic Dragon King made a decision. "Well done. I didn't expect Grasshopper to be so sensible. Go back and tell him that he can return at the end of this year," the Milky Way Dragon King said. "Thank you, Your Majesty." The red-armored man knelt down and kowtowed 9 times before quickly retreating. The Milky Way Dragon King put away the jade bottle and disappeared in a flash. On the other side, the red-armored man walked out of the palace happily. Just as he arrived at the plaza, he saw a group of armored guards surrounding him. What do you want to do?" The red-armored man panicked. "Come with us. His Highness the Crown Prince wants to see you." I still have to go back and report," the red-armored man said. "Cut the crap. Let's go." There was no other way. The red-armored man was escorted by a group of armored guards to the Crown Prince's palace. After entering, the red-armored man knelt down. "Greetings, Your Highness. You may rise." A blue-haired man sat on the main seat, staring coldly at the red-armored man. This person was the eldest son of the Milky Way Dragon King, Han Shi. "Thank you, Your Highness." The red-armored man stood there weakly, his body trembling. "Tell me, what did my third brother give my father? They actually transferred him back? Also, my royal father actually went to see the hegemon." Cold Savage's voice wasn't loud, but it was filled with power. "Your Highness, I'm here to deliver the immortal wine," the red-armored man said. "How dare you?" The guards on his left and right shouted, scaring the red-armored man so much that he knelt on the ground and shivered. "Do you really think this prince is easy to fool? Confess." Hanshi said, "Your Highness, I really wouldn't dare lie to you. It's like this," the red-armored man explained what had happened. Han Xian paid attention to all of this seriously, his expression unchanged. When the red-armored man finished speaking, his face revealed a trace of anger. "Men, take him away and behead him." "Yes." The guards on the left and right rushed forward and quickly took the red-armored man away. "No, Your Highness, please spare my life." The voice faded away. Soon after, the sound of Dragon's head falling to the ground was heard. "Your Highness, he doesn't seem to be lying." At this time, a goatee came forward. "You're right." Hanshi smiled and nodded. "Then why did you behead him? If you don't behead him, wouldn't the credit be all third brothers?" Hearing Hanshi's voice, the goatee nodded and gave a thumbs up. "Your Highness, you're really smart." Hanshi smiled slightly. "Get ready and immediately bring people with me to Xiang Star." "Your Highness, do you want to go and kidnap Sun Hao?" the goatee asked. "Yes." Hanshi nodded. "To be able to brew this kind of immortal wine. I'm afraid his strength is not simple, should we?" the goatee asked. "Of course, bring him along." Hanshi nodded. "Yes, Your Highness." The goatee quickly retreated. Deep in the universe, on a certain life planet, in an ancient hall, a woman holding a scepter sat on the main seat. The emperor-level aura exuded from her body. In the hall, everyone lowered their heads, not daring to look at her. "A few days ago, I sensed a familiar sound. It must be the appearance of my clan's divine artifact, the Tai Chi Divine Tower. We have to find the divine artifact before the other immortal emperors find out. Who is willing to take on this heavy responsibility?" The woman's gaze swept, and everyone lowered their heads. No one was willing to stand up. "No one." The woman's voice gradually became cold. "Great Emperor, I am willing." At this time, a woman's voice sounded outside the door. Immediately afterward, a woman in white came in leisurely. She had a beautiful melon-seed face. Delicate facial features appeared very three-dimensional, and jade-like skin exuded a tender luster. At first glance, it was like a masterpiece of God, without a trace of fault. "Are you willing? Do you know the consequences?" The Empress frowned slightly, showing a trace of displeasure on her face. "Great Emperor, I know. If I can't get the divine artifact back, I will die," the woman said. The Empress sighed secretly. "Since you know the consequences, then go." I can only sense that the Tai Chi Divine Tower is located in the Milky Way galaxy. This is the Tai Chi compass. It can sense the Tai Chi Divine Tower. When you get there, use this thing and it will guide you. Remember, it can only be used 3 times. After that, the Empress waved her right hand, and an exquisite compass flew back to the woman's hand. "Yes, Great Emperor." The woman took the compass and quickly retreated. Xiang Star, south of the heavenly demon continent. Buzz. The sky shook with layers of ripples, and hundreds of figures walked out of the ripples. These people were the Demon Slayer Special Attack Team, led by Luo Luyan. These 500 people were all immortals. Luo Luyan and the others had even reached the heavenly immortal realm. Even the Penglai continent could not compete with this power. After landing, Luo Luyan looked at the blood mist in the sky and frowned slightly. "This time, we are determined to uproot the demon race. We are waiting here. Each person can only have 10 bottles of immortal wine to replenish. So, we must finish this quickly. Remember, kill without mercy." Luo Luyan shouted loudly. "Yes, Alliance Leader Luo." Everyone clasped their fists and saluted. Alliance leader Chun. Yes. Chen Dao Ming stood up. You, Elder Mu, and Elder Su, take 150 people and attack from the east. Yes. Chen Dao Ming clasped his fists and retreated. Elder Hua, Luo Luyan shouted. Yes. The flower fairy stood up. You, Elder Xin Yuan, and Elder Zhongli, take 150 people and attack from the west. Yes. The others, attack from the middle with me, and go straight to the demon's nest. Let's go. The order was given. Swish. Everyone turned into a stream of light and flew quickly toward the heavenly demon continent. Chapter 298. North of Demon Ancestral Mountain, Tu City. On the streets, the tide of people surged, constantly intertwining. Pass by, don't miss the immortal medicine just picked. This immortal pill only costs 10 immortal crystals. If you miss this one, there will be no next one. Great immortal, don't hesitate. High-grade immortal pill from the hands of Master Qin. There's only one in the world. The sound of shouting and hawking was endless. The whole scene seemed extremely lively. Most people's faces were brimming with joy. Suddenly, a black cloud pressed down, enveloping the entire city. Everyone was still in a daze. Buzz, a whistling sound came down. A wisp of green light flew down from the black cloud, and in an instant, it shattered the city protection array. Buzz, the green light landed and exploded instantly. Countless wisps of green lightning swept the entire Tu City. At this moment, time froze. Everyone's movements and expressions seemed to be fixed. Green electric arcs swam around their bodies, taking away everyone's vitality at a speed visible to the naked eye. Less than a moment, each of them turned into a withered statue and stood there motionless. Buzz, the green lightning swam rapidly and quickly gathered in the center of the city. Whoosh, turned into a stream of light, quickly submerged into the black cloud, and disappeared. Jia. A gloomy laughter sounded from the black cloud. Not bad, not bad. It's really delicious. However, it's far from enough. When I finish swallowing Tu Mountain, I think I can recover 10% of my strength. The roar sounded from the black cloud, reverberating between heaven and earth. The black cloud flew toward Tu Mountain as fast as lightning. Tu Mountain in a large hall. A woman in red with 2 fox ears rushed in from outside the door. In front of her chest, trembling up and down, surging. This person was the princess of the Demon Ancestral Mountain Heavenly Fox clan, Huluadi. Compared to before, Huluadi's body emitted a kind of immortal luster. The whole person looked extremely charming. Maybe she was not as good-looking as Huang Ramong, but her every movement was naturally tempting, making people unconsciously want to immerse in that kind of gentleness. Mother, open the mystifying heavenly formation for a while. I want to send a message. Presumably the godly cunning immortal has come. Huluadi said. In front of her stood another fox-eared woman. This person was the clan leader of the Sky Fox clan, Hulaina. We can't. A great danger will descend at any moment. Opening the grand formation rashly will only cause our clan to fall into eternal damnation. Besides, no matter how strong the godly cunning immortal is, can he solve the crisis of our clan? Now, we can only hope that the old ancestor returns as soon as possible. Hulaina said, Mother, the old ancestor is going to the Demon Burial Mountain Range. That place is a forbidden zone for immortal kings. Even immortal kings can only enter but not leave. I'm afraid the old ancestor is also... Shut up, Hulaina shouted. The old ancestor cultivates the claw of insulation, which can break all spells in the world. The Demon Burial Mountain Range is nothing. As long as the ancestor returns, the danger to our clan will be resolved. Just as he finished speaking, boom, a loud noise swept across the entire Tu Mountain. This sound caused everyone's ears to ring and their heads to spin. Not good. Hulaina ran out of the house and looked up. Her pupils constricted. Huluadi followed closely behind. As he looked at the sky, his body trembled, and his expression changed greatly. Mother, what is that? They saw. Black clouds covered the sky, making it impenetrable. It enveloped the entire mountain within a radius of 10,000 miles. A 10,000-meter-long green bone claw stretched out from the black clouds, aimed at the mystifying sky formation, and pressed down. Boom! With a loud noise, the entire great formation was shaking violently, as if it was about to explode. Hulaina's expression changed drastically, and she secretly said that it was not good. She called upon the immortal power in her body and let out a roar. Everyone, return to the main clan immediately. Hurry! His voice shook the heavens. It woke up all the clansmen who were stunned in place. Everyone immediately turned into a stream of light and flew toward Hulaina. Buzz! Hulaina reacted extremely quickly. With a wave of her right hand, an ancient castle rapidly enlarged in her hand. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a huge castle with a height of 100 meters. Nether ruins. Seeing this castle, Huluadi's eyes lit up. Don't just stand there. Hurry up and follow me into the nether ruins. Everyone, fly into the nether ruins. Hulaina used a secret method to transmit her voice into everyone's ears at the same time. However, the size of Mountain is 10,000 miles. Not every Heavenly Fox clan member can grasp the void and enter the nether ruins. On a certain mountaintop, a gray-haired old man crouched in the dense forest, looked up at the sky, and couldn't help but feel his scalp tingle. Damn it, damn it. This person was Ujizi. He had been in Mountain for more than half a month. These days, he was careful and did not let the Heavenly Fox clan discover him. Originally, he wanted to get some nine-tailed foxtail fur. However, these days, the Heavenly Fox clan's defense was too tight, and it was difficult to make a move. Lying in the same place, it has been almost 5 days. However, he did find out a piece of good news. That was the Heavenly Fox clan was in a great crisis, and he just took this opportunity to get some treasures and then leave the demon ancestral mountain. However, what he did not expect was that this great danger turned out to be. Thinking of this, Ujizi looked up at the sky again, extremely frightened, only to see the giant claw that covered the sky emitted a faint green light, aimed at the great array, and blasted down. Boom! A deafening sound shook heaven and earth. A wave of air whistled down from the sky and swept in all directions. Those Heavenly Fox clan members who had rushed up to the nether ruins were blown back. Buzz, the shield on Ujizi's body, trembled violently, and his ears were ringing. Now, with the great array to resist, it could produce this kind of power. If the great array disappeared, that claw would fall, and he would die. What should I do? Ujizi's face showed a look of hesitation. At the moment when he was stunned, Kacha! The May Sky Array, a crack spread rapidly. With another blow, the great array would definitely collapse. At that time, the consequences would be unimaginable. Damn it, I don't care. Ujizi took out a talisman, moved his mind, and instantly lit it. In front of him, a whirlpool appeared. Without thinking, he jumped into the whirlpool and disappeared. When he appeared again, he was not far from the nether ruins. He lay on the ground, motionless, quietly waiting for an opportunity. Boom, a loud noise. The green claw directly tore the great array apart. Good opportunity. Without any hesitation, Ujizi followed the Heavenly Fox clan, turned into a stream of light, and flew into the nether void. No one noticed him. Quick, hurry up. Hulaina roared loudly. Jia. In the black cloud, there was a cold laugh. Then, Buzz, 2 green lights like 2 torrents poured down, like a gaze sweeping across everyone. At this moment, all the clansmen, as if trapped in a quagmire, were extremely difficult to move. Their bodies fell straight down uncontrollably. After landing, they struggled. Looking in the direction of Hulaina, they shouted, Patriarch, don't worry about us, run, run. Chapter 299. Hurry up. Don't give up. Hulaina roared loudly, tears brewing in her eyes. Beside her, the tears in Huluadi's eyes had long since covered them. Damn it, what the hell is this thing? Huluoti clenched his fists tightly. and his face was filled with unwillingness. A burst of cold laughter came from the sky. All of you are my food. No one can escape. After he finished speaking, the green claw in the sky rapidly grew larger. In the blink of an eye, it covered the entire Two Mountain. Buzz, the claw gave off a shocking pressure as it pressed down. The people of the Heavenly Fox clan crawled on the ground and kept struggling. Katja! Every time he struggled, the bones in his hands would crack. Patriarch, run quickly. Patriarch, don't worry about us. It'll be too late if we're late. Patriarch, you must preserve our clan's bloodline. Run. Such voices resounded in the surroundings. Hulaina gritted her teeth and struggled. She raised her head to look at the sky. Anger and unwillingness intertwined on her face. Her tears flowed quickly as she rushed into the nether ruins. Buzz, within the nether ruins, a ring of five-colored light enveloped the entire nether ruins. The entire Two Mountain. At this moment, time seemed to stand still. Phew! The life force of all the Heavenly Fox clansmen rapidly flew up and poured into the sky-covering claw. A laugh rang out from the black cloud. So delicious. Not bad, not bad. Your souls must be quite delicious. Let my weak soul replenish a little. After this sound, the sky-covering claws pressed down in an instant. Phew! All the dried corpses of the sky foxes flew up and floated in the sky. Boom! The ground of Two Mountain cracked as shockwaves swept out in all directions. The nether ruins trembled violently in the turbulence and swayed non-stop. Hurry up! In the nether ruins, everyone was praying. Hulaina revealed an incomparably solemn expression as she frantically channeled her power into the nether ruins. Under her control, the light of the nether ruins grew brighter and brighter. Swish! A piercing sound could be heard. Nether ruins pierced through the void, turned into a ray of light, and disappeared. A cold laugh came from the black cloud. You can't escape. After this sound, the sky-covering claw continued to press down. The entire Two Mountain exploded into pieces. Enveloped by the green lightning, the dust rapidly compressed. In the end, they turned into black spikes that were more than 10 meters long. Every spike was covered with densely packed formation patterns. Bang! These sharp thorns stabbed in the ground of Two Mountain. From afar, it looked like a huge iron plate covered with spikes. Phew! Tens of millions of Heavenly Fox corpses fell from the sky. One by one, they hung on those sharp thorns. Sizzle. On the ground, green electric arcs were exploding and flowing in all directions. Lines of formation patterns were carved on the surface of Tushan. Go! There was a loud noise. A huge transparent crystal ball flew down from the sky and landed in the eye of the array formation like a meteorite. Instantly, wisps of light that his physical body could not detect flowed down from the sharp thorns. It rapidly flowed into the crystal ball through the runes. In a month's time, your souls will flow into it. At that time, this seat will come to collect it. Ants, where did you escape to? This seat is coming. After this sound, the sky-covering claw grabbed toward the sky. Katja! The sky seemed to be torn apart, revealing a deep hole. Phew! The dark cloud drilled into the hole and disappeared. In a certain secret realm, Buzz, the sky shook up layers of ripples, and the nether ruins drilled out of the ripples and slowly landed. In the nether ruins, everyone's face was full of grief, indignation, and unwillingness. Mother, they're all dead, and their souls were not let go. Speaking of this, Huluwadi burst into tears. Now is not the time to cry. The crisis is not over yet. Hulaina's voice awakened Huluwadi. Through the nether ruins, looking at the surrounding scenery, his face was full of doubts. Mother, where is this? Huluwadi wiped his tears and asked. This is the Kang boundary, a secret realm left by the founding ancestor of my clan. Hulaina said. Kang boundary? Huluwadi pointed at the ape-like creatures outside. Mother, what is that? Hulaina looked up and couldn't help but feel her scalp tingle. That is a chimera. Its physical body is extremely powerful and incomparably brutal. Every chimera has the strength of the immortal realm. If we're discovered by them, I'm afraid the defensive barrier of the nether ruins will be torn apart by them. Even you and I'm afraid. Speaking of this, Hulaina couldn't continue. Mother, what should we do? Huluadi asked. We can only pray. Hulaina shook her head slightly. Why would there be such monsters in the secret realm left by the founding ancestor? Huluadi asked. Sigh, the founding ancestor could not completely destroy them, and could only trap them here. Hulaina secretly sighed. Suddenly, Hulaina raised her eyebrows, glanced at a certain position, and said, Come out, don't hide. With this sound, an old man walked out from the crowd and smiled. Fellow Hu, greetings. This old man was Ujizi. Hulaina looked at Ujizi and frowned slightly. Why do you look a little familiar? What is your purpose in coming to my Tushan? This poor Taoist travels the world, helping the strong kill the weak, Ba. Helping the weak is this poor Taoist's duty. Seeing that your Tushan is in danger, I'm here to save it, Ujizi said with a smile. With just you, Hulaadi released his aura, causing Ujizi to retreat a few steps, his face full of panic. Who are you? Hulaina's voice revealed a bit of majesty. This poor Taoist is Ujizi. As soon as these words came out, phew, a wave of pressure, like a torrent, surged over. In an instant, it enveloped Ujizi. So it's you. I've been looking for you for so many years. I didn't expect that you would actually deliver yourself to my door. Hulaina's face was full of anger. Step by step, she walked towards Ujizi. Patriarch, why are you looking for me? As soon as these words came out, slap, a slap fiercely landed on Ujizi's face. He slammed heavily on the stone wall, vomiting blood. His entire face immediately swelled up and turned purple. Why am I looking for you? Of course, to beat you to death. After saying that, Hulaina slapped him again. Patriarch, Grandaunt, don't hit me. I was wrong. If you want to hit me, you should at least let me know the reason, right? Ujizi waved his hand repeatedly, his face full of fear. 10,000 years ago, I retracted my tail hair. Do you dare to say that you didn't steal it? After saying that, Hulaina punched down again and again. Soon after, Ujizi fell to the ground. His breath was weak. You can go to hell. After saying that, Hulaina raised a shocking fist, aimed at Ujizi and punched down. Wait. Seeing this scene, Ujizi quickly waved his hand. After that, he took out a horsetail whisk and respectfully handed it forward. Chapter 300. Looking at the horsetail whisk in Ujizi's hand, Hulaina's face was filled with anger. She was so angry that her entire body was trembling. How dare you use my tail hair to make a horsetail whisk? If I don't kill you today, the hatred in my heart won't be appeased. Hulaina said hatefully. Ancestor, don't. I thought you didn't want your tail hair anymore, so I picked it up. For the past 10,000 years, I've treated it like a treasure. Look, not a single hair has been lost. It's all neatly returned to its rightful owner. For the sake of my ignorance, please spare my life. After saying that, Ujizi kowtowed to Hulaina. Don't try to argue. Today you must die. Hulaina walked towards Ujizi and was about to kill him. How? A roar came from outside the nether ruins. Hulaina looked up and her scalp went numb. They saw a chimera was beating its chest and roaring at the sky. His expression indicated that he was calling out to his companions. Mom, not good, they found us. Quickly open the nether ruins and escape. Huluadi said, the energy of the nether ruins has been used up. I can't escape. Then what should we do? For now, someone has to be sacrificed. Hulaina's gaze swept over Uji as she spoke. Ujizi had goosebumps all over his body. Panic was written all over his face. He took 2 steps back, his face full of fear. Patriarch, what do you want to do? What for? Hulaina revealed a cruel smile. Of course I'm going to F***CKU. After she finished speaking, Hulaina waved her right hand. A ray of red light flew out from her palm and landed on Ujizi. Are you all right? Ujizi did not feel any pain at all. He could not help but let out a long sigh of relief. The next second, He found his body flying backwards uncontrollably. Drawing a parabola, he fell heavily into the group of apes. This. Ujeezy shuddered at the sight of the 2-meter-tall chimpanzees that were as strong as bulls. Ow! The leader ape let out an excited roar and kept pounding its chest. His expression was as if he had seen a peerlessly beautiful ape, and he was extremely excited. A few chimeras walked forward and grabbed Ujeezy's limbs. What do you want? Let go, let go. No. A blood-curdling scream rang out. Ujeezy's clothes were completely torn apart. Immediately after, miserable screams shook the heavens. All sorts of complicated emotions were contained within. Huluwadi was dumbfounded when he saw this scene, and he couldn't react for a long time. Mother, Huluoti pointed at this scene, his face red. Don't look. With a wave of his right hand, Zhang Xian sealed off the nether ruins, preventing him from seeing the outside world. All that could be heard were incomparably miserable screams. Mother, is this Ujeezy doomed? Huluwadi asked. He deserves it. He stole my tail fur, so I didn't kill him on the spot. That's good for him. Hulaina held the horsetail whisk and sized it up. Not long after, the screams gradually stopped. Howl! The group of chimpanzees sped away. One of the chimpanzees was carrying Ujeezy. When the ape disappeared, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Mother, it should be safe now, right? Huluwadi asked. There are no chimpanzees nearby. We try to walk out. Hulaina looked at the surrounding scenery through the nether ruins. After confirming that there were no chimpanzees, she let out a long sigh of relief. Suddenly, Kacha! The sky cracked like a mirror and a hole appeared. Then, spider-web-like cracks spread rapidly around. Boom! An explosion sounded. A green claw pierced through. Seeing this scene, everyone in the nether ruins had a huge change in expression, and their whole body trembled. A fatal crisis shrouded their hearts. Huff! As the claw pierced through, endless black clouds pressed down, shrouding the world in an instant. The entire Kang world fell into darkness. The only light was the green lightning that exploded from time to time in the black clouds. 2 huge green eyes pierced through the black clouds and swept directly toward the nether ruins. Jia! A burst of laughter sounded. Ants, do you think it's possible to escape in front of me? It's your greatest honor to become my food. After saying that, the green claw that covered the sky stretched down from the black clouds and grabbed at the nether ruins. Demon Ancestor Mountain, north of Two Mountain, a huge city stood there. This city was called Two City. The former prosperity passed away in one day. What was left on the ground were the shriveled corpses. The expression on their faces was fixed at that moment, without any pain. Outside the city, Sun Hao and the other two stood at the North City gate, looking at the scene in front of them. They couldn't help but clench their fists, and their joints exploded. They saw, on the way into the city, there were statues standing. These statues were all transformed from human cultivators or demon cultivators. Everyone's expression was different. Huff! A breeze blew. The top of the statue turned into wisps of debris and flew away with the wind. It was as if it had been exposed to the wind and sun for thousands of years, decaying. Along the way, within 100 miles, they encountered many such statues. The vitality of these people was all taken away by some kind of monster. Endless haze enveloped the heads of the three. His mood was exceptionally heavy. Damn it, Sun House secretly cursed, massacring the city at every turn. Hundreds of millions of lives in front of that kind of powerhouse were like ants, killing them if they wanted to. When he had the strength, he must reverse the situation. Sun House secretly clenched his fists. Come on, let's go in and see. Sun Hao patted Luo Xian on the shoulder and said, "And Luo Xian's face was full of worry. He followed closely behind Sun Hao, his eyes sweeping around. Walking to the city gate, his right hand touched the city gate. Boom! With an explosion, the entire city gate directly exploded into flying catkins and dissipated with the wind. It was not a city wall. A large piece could be dug out with a light touch. Walking into the city, the smell of decay hit the face. The statues on the street were endless. Everyone's expression was frozen. What the hell is going on here? Sun Hao asked. Young master, I just came here 10 days ago. At that time, it was not like this at all. In Hu Luoxian's eyes, tears were brewing. There must be a powerhouse who extracted his vitality. This kind of powerhouse should not live in this world. Sun Hao clenched his fists, secretly hating. If one day he met such a powerful person, he would take a breath, and then he would not become such a statue. This world must have order. Suddenly, Hu Luoxian turned in a haste and dashed forward. After a while, Hu Luoxian stood in front of a statue, stretched out his hands, wanting to touch it, but not daring to touch it. He looked at the statue with an excited expression. 2 lines of tears flowed down. Old Shui, the corner of his mouth twitched slightly, and his face was full of grief. I shouldn't have let you come back. It's all my fault. Old Shui, I'm sorry. P.S. The protagonist of the Demon Ancestral Mountain plot will collect full blessing points. Please come to QQ to read support. Chapter 301. Old CI. He is my best friend. If I don't avenge this hatred, I will not live under the same sky. No matter who you are, I will pull your tendons and peel your skin. Hu Luoxian looked up to the sky and roared in grief. Boom! Sun Hao patted Hu Luoxian's shoulder lightly. At this moment, the hostility on Hu Luoxian's body disappeared. He woke up, looked at Sun Hao, opened his mouth, and couldn't laugh. Young master, if you want to take revenge, you must have strength. With your strength, can you be an opponent? Sun Hao said. Young master, I understand. I will work hard to cultivate. Hu Luoxian nodded heavily. Little Xian, let's go. Take us to the teleportation array to see. Sun Hao said. Okay. The 3 continued to walk forward. Along the way, all they encountered were decaying corpses. Some of them had fallen to the ground and scattered for a week. All of this, like the haze gathering on their heads, was getting thicker and thicker. Uneasiness was written all over the faces of the 3. To be able to turn such a large city into a wasteland in just a few days, it was impossible. The strength of the behind-the-scenes manipulator was by no means simple. Soon, the 3 came to the Earth Vein Teleportation Array. However, although the Earth Vein Teleportation Array was still intact, the power on it had been extracted clean. Boom! A light touch. The foundation stone of the teleportation array was shattered to the ground, and the pattern on it had long been erased. Little Xian, let's hurry to 2 Mountain to see. Sun Hao said. In. The 3 took a step and ran quickly. Soon after, the 3 stood in front of 2 Mountain. 2 Mountain, stacked layer by layer, rows of mountains, continuous into a piece. People standing in front of it were as small as ants. All around, rocks were piled up. Looking at these rocks, Hu Luoxian raised his eyebrows and thought it was not good. He took 3 steps, ran to the rocks, picked them up and looked, and his pupils shrank. This is the cornerstone of the Confusion Sky Formation. What Confusion Sky Formation? Sun Hao stepped forward, picked up a cornerstone and looked at it, and couldn't help but shake his head repeatedly. The pattern on the statue on the cornerstone was too simple and too stiff. It was not as smooth as his own carving. Compared with his own formation level, it was far worse. Young master, the Confusion Sky Formation used 180 million immortal grade formation foundation stones. After 10,000 years, it was built by thousands of formation masters of the Heavenly Fox tribe. The strongest one can withstand the full power of a 3rd-grade celestial king. At this point, Hu Luoxian's face revealed a hint of heartache. Who would have thought that the disorienting sky formation would be completely shattered? The person who came is definitely not simple. Young master, I beg you to save my people. Hu Luoxian knelt in front of Sun Hao and kept kowtowing. Get up and take us up the mountain. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Hu Luoxian quickly stood up and ran forward. Sun Hao and Huang Ruming followed closely behind and kept up. Sun Hao's face showed a trace of worry. Can Ru Meng deal with such a terrifying almighty? Definitely. She is the godly cunning immortal. Thinking like this, Sun Hao glanced at Huang Ruming. After seeing her calm expression, he secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Rumeng is so calm, there must be no problem. Sun Hao thought secretly. Entering Tu Mountain, there was a cold wind blowing in the face. The wind blew into the body through the cuffs, straight into the bone marrow, making the body shiver. A bloody smell poured into the nasal cavity. Not good. Hu Luoxian's face showed uneasiness, turned into a stream of light, and ran quickly toward the top of the mountain. Rumeng, let's keep up. Okay. The two did not slow down at all and quickly followed up. A moment later, the three of them came to the top of the mountain and looked at the scene in front of them, stunned in place. They saw that the entire top of the mountain had become an endless flatland. It looked as if the entire top of the mountain had been cut off by someone, and it was extremely flat. The original verdant jungle had long disappeared. Instead, there were spikes more than 10 meters high. On each spike, there was a heavenly fox that was pierced through, hanging on it. The dry fur, swaying in the wind, whining. The sound was like a ghost howling, very scary. The spikes and the ground were engraved with ancient formation patterns. Wisps of light that could only be scanned by divine sense floated out of the heavenly fox. Along the spikes, it drifted down, flowed quickly on the formation patterns on the ground, and went straight into the crystal ball in the distant depths. Hu Luoxian looked at this scene, and the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. His whole body kept trembling. Two balls of anger, galloping in his chest, seemed to burn his body. No! An unwilling roar resounded through the world. After this sound, as if touching some taboo switch, buzz, one by one, the withered heavenly fox suddenly opened their eyes. Swish! Two green rays of light burst out from their eyes. That kind of cold, killing, intense swept out from the heavenly fox. Ooh, they struggled quickly, breaking free from the spikes. After jumping to the ground, they rushed toward Hu Luoxian like a torrent. Hu Luoxian looked at this scene, his face full of grief. My people, it's me. Wake up. However, no matter how Hu Luoxian called, these heavenly foxes were unmoved. They stepped on the ground, shaking the ground and making it buzz. Like 10,000 beasts galloping, the momentum soared to the sky. When Sun Hao saw this scene, he couldn't help but tremble. On his forehead, cold sweat flowed. It's terrible. Are these all ghosts? So sharp. What should I do? Young master, are you not feeling well again? Are you chanting scriptures or playing the guqin? Huang Rumeng asked. Of course, it's chanting scriptures. Help me take out the Ksitigarbha Sutra. Sun Hao suppressed the trembling of his body and sat cross-legged on the ground. Let me enlighten you. After Rumeng took out the scriptures, Sun Hao opened his mouth and read. On the other side, the heavenly fox, like a torrent, kicked the ground with its hind legs and jumped up. They aimed at Hu Luoxian and grabbed down. Kacha! Space was torn and distorted. Seeing that, these heavenly foxes were about to catch Hu Luoxian. At this time, merciful cause accumulates good, vows to save all living beings. The golden tin in the hand shakes open the gate of hell. The pearl in the palm shines on the boundless world. Lines of scriptures flew all over the sky. With Sun Hao as the center, it spread around rapidly. In the blink of an eye, it enveloped these heavenly foxes, who, the green light in their eyes, like a candle flame blown by the wind, instantly extinguished. Their bodies, as if struck by lightning, fell to the ground in a daze. As the scriptures spread, white phantoms floated out of the heavenly foxes, floating in the air, motionless. That expression was like a devout believer listening to the great Buddha voice. When the scriptures entered the ears, it was particularly comfortable. The impatience and anger in the heart dissipated completely at this moment. Hu Luoxian sat cross-legged on the ground and listened quietly. Boom! In the distance, the crystal bead that collected souls directly burst open. Ooh! Countless souls danced in the air. They turned into wisps of white light, rushing to the souls of every heavenly fox. In the sound of wisdom, in the auspicious clouds, for Jambudvipa, suffering all living beings, the Lord of great merit, the scriptures did not stop sweeping the world. Most of the scriptures flew into the void and disappeared. At this moment, in front of Sun Hao, everyone sat cross-legged on the ground, listening quietly. Chapter 302. Kang World. This, Gulaina looked at the green claw that covered the sky, and all the hair on her body stood up. The whole person seemed to sink into hell, and it was icy cold. No, don't. Gulaina's body trembled, and her face was pale. Despair at this moment spread to everyone. Does heaven want to destroy my clan? No, an unwilling cry resounded through heaven and earth. However, it was useless. The claw that covered the sky from the black cloud stretched down. In an instant, it grabbed the nether ruins in its hand. Yo, low-grade immortal weapon, not bad. However, without the support of immortal power, it's like scrap iron. Break for this seat. A roar shook heaven and earth. The giant claw that covered the sky clenched hard. Boom! The nether ruins burst apart. Hundreds of thousands of figures fell straight down from the nether ruins. They fell to the ground and were unable to move by the pressure. No, don't! Is my heavenly fox clan going to end like this? God save us! Desperate cries kept ringing. Jia Jia. In the sky, there was a burst of strange laughter. In the laughter, there was a sense of ridicule. God! Hee hee. Ants, you haven't recognized the situation yet. Cultivation is originally going against the heaven. Will God come to save you? It's so funny. Tremble. Despair. The more desperate you are, the more delicious you taste. In the black cloud, the triumphant voice kept coming. A green claw from the sky stretched down. Who? Green silk threads flying down from the claw shrouded heaven and earth. Endless fear spread throughout everyone's body. At this moment, they could not produce the slightest resistance. There was only despair. Looking at it, the claw that covered the sky was about to fall. At this time, I'm going to fight you. A red streamer soared into the sky. Aiming at the claw, it blasted over. Boom! A deafening sound shook the heavens and earth. Boundless chi waves swept across the world. The sky-covering claw was forced back 100 meters. A red figure stood high up in the sky with an imposing manner. The person that attacked was precisely Huluadi. On the ground, everyone looked at this scene in disbelief. The princess is so powerful. When did that happen? So strong. Even Hulaina's expression changed at this moment. Her face was filled with shock. Even if he attacked with all his strength, he would be the one to be pushed back. In the sky. Phew. Two green eyes stared blankly at Huluadi. There was a trace of shock in his eyes. After a while, a strange laughter rang out. So it's the clothes you're wearing. Even I can't see its rank. It must be a supreme immortal robe. Haha, I never imagined that I would actually be able to obtain such a peerless immortal treasure. I've struck it rich. I've really struck it rich. Little kid, since you want to stand out, then become my food. I'll start with you. After he said that, swish, two rays of green light shot down from his eyes and stared at Huluadi's body. At this moment, Huluadi's body trembled violently. Endless fear, like black ants all over the sky, crawled all over his body. Buzz, above the sky-covering claw, a dazzling green light was emitted, so bright that people could not open their eyes. A shocking pressure emanated from the claw, sweeping heaven and earth. At this moment, everyone on the ground was crawling on the ground, as if pressed to the ground, unable to struggle. In the sky, Huluadi stared blankly at the sky-covering giant hand, as if carrying several Mount Tai on his back. His legs trembled involuntarily. This time, the pressure was 100 times stronger, and there was no power to fight at all. No, Huluadi roared up to the sky, as if crazy, frantically extracting the power in his body and pouring it into the clothes on his body. Her whole body trembled, struggling hard. However, in front of such a peerless powerhouse, he couldn't even struggle. He could only watch the sky-covering giant claw come, and he was powerless to do anything. Godly cunning immortal, your great kindness can only be repaid in the next life. Huluadi closed his eyes, shed 2 lines of tears, and quietly waited for death. Unless there was a miracle, he would die without a doubt, seeing that the sky-covering claw was about to hit Huluadi's body. At this time, merciful cause accumulates good, vows to save all living beings. The golden tin in the hand shakes open the gate of hell. The pearl in the palm shines on the boundless world. A wisp of scripture flew from the void. It was densely packed, like golden butterflies flying all over the sky. Zizi, wherever the scripture went, the black clouds sizzled as they burned and quickly retreated. Oh, the scripture condensed rapidly, and in less than a moment, it changed into a golden giant Buddha several thousand meters tall. On the giant Buddha's body, the 10,000-meter golden light whistled through the sky and spread throughout the universe. The giant Buddha stretched out a golden palm and reached down from the sky. It seemed slow, but in fact it was extremely fast. In an instant, it grabbed the green claw. A gentle grip. Kacha, the sound of bones breaking sounded. The green claw broke apart directly and burst into powder. Oh, the golden giant hand gently grasped and held Huluadi in the palm of his hand. With the point of his finger, a wisp of golden light went straight into Huluadi's eyebrows. At this moment, she fell asleep peacefully. The scripture all over the sky, with her body flying down, fell to the ground. On the ground, a group of heavenly fox people were lying on the ground, the corners of their mouths raised. Their whole bodies were wrapped in hundreds of millions of scriptures. This kind of great Tao Buddha sound, hearing it in their ears, was particularly comfortable. At the scene, the only one who was uncomfortable was the green humanoid skeleton monster in the black cloud. At this moment, it reacted. A shrill scream shook heaven and earth. He held the skull's head with his remaining palm and roared. "Which bald donkey are you? Do you need to care about this kind of business? You're not good at eating vegetarian and praying to Buddha, but you always come to care about this kind of thing. Do you really think this seat is afraid of you?" The green monster's voice was like thunder, shaking out. The black cloud around dispersed cleanly. It looked at the golden giant Buddha, its face full of anger. However, the giant Buddha did not pay attention to it, and even disdained to speak. He just sat cross-legged on the ground, his hands clasped together, and his mouth kept chanting scriptures. The golden tin in the hand, shake open the gate of hell. The pearl in the palm, shine on the boundless world. Endless scriptures, surging rapidly, quickly wrapped the green monster. As long as it touched the monster, it would burn a burst of black smoke. Endless screams resounded through the world. The green monster held its head, stared at the golden Buddha, and roared angrily, "Shut up, damn bald donkey! Shut up, please stop chanting." The green monster was getting weaker and weaker. Finally, boom! With a loud explosion, it crumbled into dust. However, the golden giant Buddha did not stop. In the giant Buddha's eyes, there was a gleam of light, looking at the endless void, and his voice was cold. Master said, "You don't need to exist in this world." After speaking, the golden giant Buddha stretched out 2 fingers, pointed at the void, and gently pinched. Buzz! A green monster was gently pinched by his 2 fingers, and no matter how it struggled, it was useless. Spare me, I was wrong. Don't kill me. Do you know this seat, who my lord is? If you touch me, The words were not finished. Boom! With a loud explosion, the green monster's body and soul all burst into powder, turned into a ray of green light, flying into the giant Buddha's hand. The giant Buddha waved his right hand. These green lights, like a waterfall, poured down and poured into every heavenly fox people. At this moment, everyone's strength was rapidly improving. After doing this, the giant Buddha looked around. After confirming that it was safe, the body exploded into countless scriptures and finally slowly disappeared, as if everything was an illusion. Chapter 303. On top of Two Mountain, Sun Hao stopped chanting. Tens of millions of white figures sat motionlessly in the void. After a long time, they stood up. Phew! They flew quickly, stood in front of Sun Hao, and saluted. All the gratitude, all the emotions were contained in this one bow. Then, they floated into the sky and gradually disappeared. The world regained its peace. All that was left on the ground were the dried corpses of the heavenly foxes. Huluwashian's tears fell uncontrollably as he watched. At this moment, he was not sad, but happy. Although the clansmen were all dead, their souls were freed. All of this was thanks to the young master. Many thanks, young master. Young master, I will never forget your great kindness. Hu Luoxian walked to Sun Hao, knelt down, and kowtowed. Xiao Xian, you're welcome. We're late. Sun Hao helped Hu Luoxian up. Young master, you came with me and converted them. Your kindness is heavier than a mountain. I believe that the spirits of my clansmen in heaven will be grateful to you. Young master, I know you still have important matters to attend to, so I won't disturb you. I want to stay and bury their bodies, so I can't accompany you. Hu Luoxian said. Sun Hao glanced at Huang Rumeng and nodded slightly after seeing her anxious look. Since I'm leaving, then listen to me play a song, okay? Sun Hao said. Hu Luoxian's eyes lit up. Xiao Ti told him that the godly cunning immortal playing the guqin could enhance his talent. How could he miss such a tune? Many thanks, young master. Hu Luoxian sat cross-legged on the ground, listening attentively. Clang! The sound of the zither rang out. Wisps of five-colored light streaked across his fingertips and rapidly surged into Hu Luoxian's body. The sound of the zither was as warm as the spring breeze, caressing his face. At this moment, Hu Luoxian felt exceptionally comfortable and was completely intoxicated. Woo! The blood wolf ran to Sun Hao and kept rubbing against his trousers. Seeing Blood Wolf's jealous appearance, Sun Hao smiled slightly. The five-colored light on his fingertips split into two and flew to Hu Luoxian and Blood Wolf respectively. Xuelang closed his eyes and looked intoxicated. Clang! The sound of the zither continued. From time to time, it would be hurried, like a beacon of fire, causing one's blood to surge. Sometimes it was low and deep, like the snow in the winter, making one's heart as still as water. Not long after, the music stopped. The multicolored light wrapped Hu Luoxian and Blood Wolf like a cocoon. The multicolored threads drilled into their bodies. At this moment, their realms, souls, fleshly bodies, and mental states were all rapidly improving. Suddenly, Kacha, a sound rang out. Hu Luoxian's barrier instantly shattered. At this moment, he directly reached the immortal realm. Meanwhile, in the sky, dark clouds rose from all directions and pressed down rapidly. Sizzle! The lightning of the immortal tribulation danced in the dark clouds, giving off a terrifying aura. Hu Luoxian's expression could not help changing slightly when he sensed this scene. Come! He gritted his teeth and stared at the sky. In the next second, his expression froze. The dark clouds suddenly dissipated. The sky was clear again. No more. Hu Luoxian stared blankly at this scene. For a moment, he could not believe that all of this was real. The immortal tribulation ended just like that? Not even a single one? Don't we demon immortals have 99 tribulations? What does that mean? Hu Luoxian mumbled to himself. He looked at Sun Hao. Is it related to the young master? It must be so. I didn't expect the young master to be able to control the immortal tribulation. In this world, it seems that only the Thunder Tribulation Sovereign has such strength, right? Could it be that the young master is the Thunder Tribulation Dominator? Hu Luoxian's scalp went numb when he thought of this. Absolutely. Other than the Thunder Tribulation ruler, who else can control the Thunder Tribulation? Unexpectedly, he actually knew the Thunder Tribulation ruler. Hiss! Hu Luoxian gasped, unable to calm down for a long time. Unexpectedly, the young master was actually such an existence. It was too scary. He was such a weak chicken, and the young master actually treated him as a friend. Could it be that he had saved the entire world in his previous life in exchange for such good luck? Young master, thank you. Hu Luoxian's eyes were filled with tears. He calmed himself down and continued to absorb the colorful light around him. Time passed slowly. Sun Hao looked at the fox and the wolf and the corner of his mouth raised slightly. It was just a small piece of music, yet the two of them had to absorb it for so long. Is this the result of my blessing point exceeding 200,000? My chanting and playing of the zither seem to be more effective. Is it because the more blessing point I have, the more powerful the effect of other skills will be? It must be so. Sun Hao nodded secretly, and his eyes flickered constantly. This discovery was like discovering a new continent. I don't know what will happen after I collect the blessing point. Will it directly turn people into immortal emperors after playing a piece of music? Wouldn't that be too scary? In this way, he was a super invincible existence. He didn't need to do anything at all. He could create countless immortal emperors by playing the zither. Thinking about it, it was extremely scary. I really hope so. Sun Hao's eyes showed a glimmer of hope. Woo! The blood wolf was the first to finish absorbing and roared toward the sky. The horns on its head grew a lot. There was a blood-colored mark on its forehead. This mark was the Tao seal. It represented that the blood wolf had reached the immortal king realm. The Tao seal exuded a murderous aura, which made people tremble when they saw it. When Huang Rumbling saw this scene, her face changed slightly. He actually became an immortal king. The song played by the young master can directly condense the Tao seal. Isn't it only through my own efforts that I can condense it? The young master didn't seem to have this ability before. Could it be that the young master has become stronger again? Thinking of this, Huang Rumbling couldn't calm down for a while. Looking at Sun Hao, her expression changed. The distance between me and the young master is getting farther and farther. In this life, how can I be worthy of the young master? Huang Rumbling looked gloomy and shook her head slightly. Woo! The blood wolf quickly ran to Sun Hao and kept rubbing his trouser legs, its tail swaying loudly. That licking technique was simply cultivated to the extreme. Sun Hao touched its head. Big wolf, what's going on with the mark between your eyebrows? Young master, that's the Tao seal. Huang Rumbling stepped forward and said, "What is the Tao seal?" Sun Hao asked, "Young master, after cultivating to the heavenly immortal realm, you have to choose a great Tao that suits you, condense the Tao seal, cross the immortal king tribulation, and become an immortal king." Huang Rumbling said, "Can I only choose one?" Sun Hao asked, "Of course, you can choose several great Tao. However, you need to merge these great Tao together and condense the Tao seal, which is 10 times more difficult." Huang Rumbling said. Hearing this, Sun Hao nodded secretly. It seemed that it was not easy to become a powerful immortal king. So, as long as you see the Tao seal between the eyebrows of the big wolf, you can know that it is an immortal king and can't hide it. Sun Hao just finished saying this. Woo! The blood wolf let out a low cry. The Tao seal between his eyebrows slowly disappeared. Not only that, even the pair of horns on its head disappeared at this moment. It looked like a little red puppy, stupid and cute. Sun Hao looked at this scene with a surprised face. He looked at the blood wolf. So, the big wolf has crossed the immortal king tribulation? Hearing this, Huang Rumbling looked at Sun Hao with a strange expression. This kind of look was fleeting, but it was clearly captured by Sun Hao. I actually asked such a stupid question. Presumably, the Thunder Tribulation giant knew that Rumbling was here and was scared away. Just now, there was almost thunder. It must be the big wolf's tribulation. Sun Hao nodded secretly. Chapter 304. Kacha! Kacha! The sound of the barrier of the realm breaking rang out. Hu Luoxian sat where he was, trembling with excitement. He broke through 3 levels in a row and became an earth immortal. He was only 1 step away from becoming a sky immortal. Since when was becoming an immortal so simple? This is not what little sister said at all. The godly cunning immortal can only enhance talent. In terms of cultivation level alone, I broke through 4 levels in a row. My state of mind, talent, physical body, I wonder how many times stronger they are. Right now, I feel like my whole body is full of power. This kind of good fortune was unprecedented. The young master's gift was simply earth-shattering and indescribable. It took a long time for Hu Luoxian to calm down. He stood respectfully in front of Sun Hao and bowed deeply. Young master's kindness is as heavy as a mountain. Xiao Xian can't repay it. Please accept my 3 kowtows. After speaking, Hu Luoxian knelt and kowtowed to Sun Hao. Please get up. Sun Hao helped Hu Luoxian up. The stronger the ability, the greater the responsibility. I hope you don't forget your original intention. Young master, don't worry, I will. Hu Luoxian nodded. By the way, I can't mention this method to outsiders. Sun Hao said. Yes, young master. Hu Luoxian nodded heavily. Well, you put away their bones. We have to leave too. Sun Hao said. Young master, take care. When this matter is over, I will come and find you. He waved goodbye to Hu Luoxian. Sun Hao turned around, looked to Huang Rumeng, and said, Rumeng, let's fly over on the immortal boat. What? Huang Rumeng's expression changed slightly. However, he quickly recovered. Along the way, the spatial turbulence had been avoiding young master. It was like a cat seeing a mouse. Rumeng, don't worry. These spatial turbulences are afraid of me. Sun Hao's face was red. The spatial turbulence was clearly afraid of the godly cunning immortal, or more accurately, like a dream. However, Rumeng was currently cultivating with the body of a mortal, so she could not break her Tao heart. He could only admit it to himself. Huang Rumeng's expression trembled when she heard Sun Hao's words. Young master saw through it? Could it be that the young master's experience in the mortal world had already ended? Is young master going to leave me? Huang Rumeng's face was full of reluctance. Yes, young master. Huang Rumeng waved her right hand and summoned the immortal boat. Go. The two of them boarded the immortal boat and sped away. Wherever he went, the spatial turbulence separated on both sides, directly making way for Sun Hao. Space turbulence. Make way for young master. I'm afraid young master is an unimaginable existence. Hu Luoxian looked in the direction where the immortal boat disappeared and muttered to himself. It was a long time. Only then did he regain his senses. The young master had given him such a good fortune. There was no way to pay it off. Thank you, young master. Once I'm done burying their remains, I'll come find you. From then on, I, Hu Luoxian, will be your servant. Hu Luoxian looked in the direction where Sun Hao disappeared, and tears were brewing. Buzz! Suddenly, ripples appeared in the sky. A sudden change occurred. King Boundary. Hu Luoxi slowly woke up. So comfortable. She stretched and stood up. He looked up and saw Hu Laina looking at him with a smile. Mother, why are you looking at me like that? Hu Luoxi asked. Check your body. Hu Laina said. Try sensing it. Have I become a cripple? With uneasiness, Hu Luoxi's mind sank into her body, and her pupils suddenly shrank. She was so excited that her body trembled slightly, and she murmured for a long time without spitting out a word. Hu. She took a few long breaths before she calmed down. Mother, I actually became a celestial immortal. Is this a dream? It's not a dream. Mother has also become a celestial immortal. This sentence, like a clap of thunder, exploded in her mind. Not only Mother, everyone present has broken through to the immortal realm. As soon as these words came out, Hu Luoxi's small mouth opened into an O shape, and she didn't spit out a word for a long time. In the entire Demon Ancestor Mountain, as long as there were a few immortals, they were the royal family, and their strength was at the peak. Now, the entire Heavenly Fox clan actually had hundreds of thousands of immortals. If this was set out, I'm afraid it would set off a storm. All the races would submit to him. I'm afraid that unifying the entire Xiang star would be a cinch. After the excitement, Hu Luoxi calmed down. Mother, what happened? Hu Luoxi asked. After you fainted, a Buddha came, and I only heard a few scriptures, and then I fell asleep. What happened after that, I don't know either. Hu Laina said. Everyone's expression was the same, confused. But why would Buddha help us? Hu Luoxi asked. That's not something I can know. Presumably Buddha chased us here, killed that monster, and saved us in passing. Hu Nali said. Hearing this, Hu Luoxi let out a long sigh of relief. Mother, are we going back now? Hu Luoxi asked. All right. Hu Laina took out her horsetail whisk and gently waved it. Hu, in the sky, there were ripples. Everyone follow me back to Tushan. Hu Laina said. Yes, clan leader. Everyone followed in turn, walked into the teleportation whirlpool, and disappeared. When they reappeared, they were already in the sky above Tushan. Looking down, they just saw Hu Luoxian burying the heavenly fox's corpse. Fourth brother, Hu Luodi, quickly flew down and came to Hu Luoxian's side. When looking at Hu Luodi, Hu Luoxian's expression was startled, and he quickly flew over and hugged her. Little sister, you're okay. That's great. Mother, you're still alive. Looking at the familiar figures, Hu Luoxian wept with joy and cried, I thought you were all gone. Well, don't cry. Hu Laina said, Mother, I'm not crying. I'm happy. I didn't expect that so many of our clansmen are still alive. Great. What the hell happened? Hu Luoxian asked. Hu Laina told him everything that had happened. After Hu Luoxian heard it, he thought secretly. Then his eyebrows raised. It must be the young master's doing. At that time, the young master was chanting Buddhist scriptures. I didn't expect that he even saved Mother and the others. Young master, your great kindness can't be repaid in 10 lifetimes. Hu Luoxian thought secretly, in a good mood. Brother, you know who is helping us, right? Hu Luodi asked. No. Hu Luoxian's face changed slightly, waving his hand again and again. You're lying. Your face is red. You're lying. Hu Luodi stretched out his hand and pinched Hu Luoxian's ear. Are you going to say it or not? It hurts. It hurts. Be gentle. Be gentle. This is not the place to talk. Hearing this, Hu Luodi let go of his hand. Mother, find a safe place. Okay. Hu Nali nodded and looked at the crowd of clansmen. You start to bury the clansmen. Yes. Under the arrangement of the elders, the clansmen began to move. Hu Nali took Hu Luoxian and disappeared in place in an instant. When they appeared again, they had already come to a certain cave. Say it. I have set up a restriction here. Hu Laina said. Mother, I said, you must not tell others. Hu Luoxian said. Don't worry. Seeing the two nodding together, Hu Luoxian told them what had just happened. No, the godly cunning immortal I saw was a woman. Is there a veil on her face? Yes, she is also there, but she is just a servant of the young master. She must be borrowing the name of the young master. When Hu Luodi heard it, he breathed a long sigh of relief. The shocked expression could not be calmed for a long time. Plop! The two of them knelt on the ground and saluted in the direction of Sun Hao's disappearance. The young master's great kindness, my Heavenly Fox clan will never forget. P.S. Those who can see here are basically true fans. Now the Dragon God has created a small group, 947782868. At present, I am the only one. I don't know how many little friends will join it. Looking forward to it. However, the Dragon God had no time to take care of the group. He just gave everyone a place to chat. Chapter 305. King Boundary. An old man with ragged clothes and a miserable appearance limped forward while hugging his buttocks from time to time. This person was Ujizi. Ouch! With every step, he let out a blood-curdling scream. Damn it, damn it! This trip to Demon Ancestral Mountain is a huge loss. 2 Earth Escape talismans and a horsetail whisk, gone just like that. Ujizi clenched his teeth, his heart bleeding. What should I do? Am I going to be trapped here forever? Ujizi frowned, deep in thought. After some thought, Ujizi took out a talisman. There's no other way. Only this world-breaking talisman can leave this place. This time, it's really a huge loss. Ujizi muttered to himself, instantly igniting the world-breaking talisman. A ripple appeared in front of him. Without thinking, he dived into it and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already somewhere in Two Mountain. My God, they're all immortals. Ancestor, just when the world happened. Run, we can't come back to this place ever again. Without thinking, Ujizi took out another Earth Escape talisman. Without hesitation, he ignited it. I'll go to the Golden Crow tribe, okay? Picking up a few Golden Crow feathers is not bad either. Ujizi dived into the ripple and disappeared. Demon Ancestral Mountain, Phoenix City, Palace Hall. A middle-aged woman with an extraordinary temperament sat in the main seat. Her gaze swept across, carrying the aura of an emperor, making others not dare to look directly at her. This person was the current demon emperor, Huang Yoli. In front of her stood 2 rows of men in embroidered clothes. Every one of them had a surging aura and extraordinary might. "Greetings, your majesty." The group of men in embroidered clothes knelt down and kowtowed. "Rise," Huang Yoli said lightly. "Thank you, your majesty." Everyone rose. "If there's anything, report it. If there's nothing, dismiss," Huang Yuli said. "Your majesty." At this moment, the middle-aged man at the front stood out. He was Huang Yuli's husband, Xiang Tinji. At the same time, he was King Blazing, the leader of the divine elephant tribe. Xiang Tinji glanced around, and the ministers behind him nodded. "Blazing King, what do you have to report?" Huang Yuli asked. Xiang Tinji did not answer. Instead, he took a step forward and placed his hands on his crown. Instantly, "Poos" at the sound of swords stabbing into flesh rang out. In the main hall, one by one, the golden-armored guards fell to the ground. Bang! He crashed into the ground, and his body exploded into dust. Even in death, he did not let out a scream. Swish! Hundreds of figures appeared out of thin air, instantly surrounding Huang Yuli so tightly that not even a drop of water could escape. Seeing this scene, Huang Yuli's expression did not change at all. She calmly sat where she was, motionless. His expression was like that of a king who controlled everything. "Aha!" Xiang Tinji threw his head back and laughed heartily, extremely pleased with himself. "Huang Yuli, you never thought that you would have such a day, right? Now, do you have any last words?" Xiang Tinji looked at Huang Yuli and said. Huang Yuli's expression did not change as the corner of her lips curled upwards. "With just these few people, you wouldn't dare to be so impudent. What's the point of hiding?" Huang Yuli asked, just as he finished speaking. "Pa, pa." A burst of applause sounded. 5 masked men in green robes walked out from the 4 corners. Each of them exuded an immortal-level aura. "Since you've already made your move, why hide your head and show your tail? It's better to take off your mask," Huang Yuli said. "Demon Phoenix, when it's time to take it off, I will definitely take it off." The leader walked forward, that black ghost mask, smiling very coldly. "Speak, you guys colluded. What's your purpose?" Huang Yuli said. "Haha, refreshing." The green-robed leader applauded again. "I like the Demon Emperor's character. Since your funeral has been arranged, then abdicate yourself," the green-robed leader said. "What funeral?" Xiang Tinji stood out, his face full of doubts. "You don't know?" The green-robed leader pretended to be surprised. "It seems that you're a really incompetent husband." Xiang Tinji smiled awkwardly. "Lord, don't talk in riddles. Just say it directly." "That's good." The green-robed leader nodded. The Demon Emperor already knew that there would be such a day. She first sent the first princess to the Tianluo continent in the name of investigating the Blood Phoenix nest. Then, she secretly sent her clansmen to the Penglai continent. Not long ago, she dismissed the 4 great generals and let them leave on the grounds of various tasks. Doing so is tantamount to preparing to sacrifice herself. This kind of breadth of mind is really great. Hearing this, Xiang Tinji showed a look of realization. "Huang Yuli, I didn't expect that your scheming was so deep. Since you knew that there would be such a day, why didn't you resist? Presumably, with your means and scheming, killing us should not be a problem." Xiang Tinji was puzzled. "Haha, my good state minister, it seems that you still don't know anything about Madam. The Demon Emperor is kind-hearted and completely focuses on the overall situation. Once she captures you and executes you on the spot, wouldn't the entire demon race be in chaos? At that time, the people will be plunged into misery and suffering." The green-robed leader's words made Xiang Tinji suddenly understand. "However, Demon Emperor, what you don't know is that the first princess is already dead. Your clansmen have all fallen into my hands at this moment. They will be sent here soon. Even if it's your 4 generals, I'm afraid they're all dead now." The green-robed leader said with a smile, that expression, as if everything was in control. Hearing this, a hint of heartache flashed across Huang Yoli's face. Good, very good. Since that's the case, this emperor wants to see, how will you deal with me? Huang Yoli released her aura, surging immortal power, rolling out. A terrifying pressure engulfed the entire hall. Bang! Those with low strength directly flew out, smashing into the ground. Even the green-robed leader, his body staggered back, using a lot of strength to stabilize his body. Xiang Tinji roared with strength, covering his body with a shield. He looked at Huang Yuli, his face full of fear. Damn it, hiding so deeply. Luckily I was prepared enough, otherwise I would have really hit an iron plate. Come on, Huang Yuli roared angrily, preparing to rush forward. Wait, the green-robed leader lightly shouted. Huang Yuli stopped what she was doing. Demon Emperor, this is your Phoenix City. There are hundreds of millions of people here. If we fight here, I think the entire Phoenix City will be destroyed. The foundation that the Phoenix Ancestor built, you don't want it to be destroyed in your hands, do you? Although the first princess is already dead, your clansmen are not. Even if you win, then your clansmen will definitely be buried with us. Also, hundreds of millions of living beings will also be buried with us. Listening to the green-robed leader's words, Huang Yoli's expression changed. Chapter 306. Huang Yoli looked at the green-robed leader with an ugly expression. Finally, she withdrew her aura unwillingly and said through clenched teeth, "Despicable. Of course not. Demon Emperor, you're wrong. In this world, the victor is king. No matter what means you use, as long as you obtain victory in the end, it doesn't matter if it's despicable or just. I believe you also know that the existence behind me is not someone you can provoke. Otherwise, you wouldn't have made these preparations, right?" The green-robed leader said. "You." Huang Yoli's chest tightened, and she was speechless. "What do you want me to do for you to let my clansmen go?" "Very simple. First, hand over the throne. Second, let us seal the immortal force within your body. You cannot resist," the green-robed leader said. Huang Yuli opened her mouth and mumbled for a long time, but did not say a single word. "All right." After some thought, Huang Yuli nodded her head in agreement. He waved his right hand. The demonic ancestral mountain's jade seal flew out from her hand and slowly flew to the front of the green-robed leader. Phew! The jade seal gave off a dazzling 5-color light. This is the real demonic seal. It is said that this demon seal is a medium-grade celestial artifact. Furthermore, it's the key to the demon ancestral realm. Xiang Tinji's eyes lit up, his body trembling with excitement. He held the jade seal, and for a moment, he did not come back to his senses. He looked at Huang Yoli and asked, "Huang Yoli, where is the demon ancestral realm?" Huang Yoli laughed coldly. "If I knew, wouldn't I have gone myself?" Xiang Tinji nodded slightly and sighed inwardly. It seemed like he could only search for the demon ancestral realm himself. No matter what, he would at least be able to obtain a middle-grade immortal artifact. "Xiang Tinji, do you still remember our agreement?" the green-robed leader asked. "Sir, don't worry. I will always remember." Xiang Tinji put away the jade seal and said, "All right." The green-robed leader looked at Huang Yoli and said, "Demon Monarch, do not resist. Do you understand?" And Huang Yuli nodded and closed her eyes, quietly waiting for them to make their move. "Go." The 5 green-robed men attacked together. Phew! 5 beams of green light shot out from their palms. These beams of light intertwined to form 5 iron chains that rapidly shot towards Huang Yuli. Pusia! In an instant, it pierced into Huang Yoli's body. Ah! Huang Yuli shrieked miserably as her strength was gradually sealed. She did not resist, nor did she struggle. 2 streams of tears rolled down from the corners of her eyes. "Meng'er, I'm sorry. It's your mother's fault," Huang Yoli murmured to herself, her eyes filled with despair. As expected, Huang Yoli's entire body was imprisoned. "Ha!" The green-robed leader raised his head to the sky and laughed maniacally. Words couldn't describe how pleased he was with himself. He slowly held the mask in his hand. Just as he was about to remove the mask, his body trembled. Not good. After he finished speaking, phew, the 5 green-robed men slowly disappeared without a trace. In the main hall, apart from the ministers on the ground, they were Huang Yoli and Xiang Tinji. What happened? Xiang Tinji looked around in confusion, just as these words rang out. Phew! A figure suddenly appeared in front of him. The newcomer's entire body was fiery red, and the clump of hair on his head was like a raging flame, soaring upwards. Just by standing there, his aura seemed to be able to melt the earth, making people feel very uncomfortable. On his body, ruthless, bloodthirsty, cold, all kinds of negative aura swept in all directions, and in an instant enveloped everyone. This fiery red figure was Lai Shang. This, Xiang Tinji and the others couldn't help but tremble. Lai Shang looked around and smiled slightly. This smile made everyone's hair stand up, and their whole body trembled violently. I didn't expect that you guys would actually fight among yourselves. A little interesting. This seat came, and you guys want to leave? How can it be such a good thing? Lai Shang's face revealed a cold smile. He stretched out his right hand and pressed forward. Buzz, the space shook up layers of ripples. 5 figures were forcefully pulled out by him. These 5 people were the 5 green-robed men who had just escaped. My lord, the 5 people collapsed to the ground, kneeling in front of Lai Shang, their faces full of fear. Don't be afraid, this seat won't kill you, Lai Shang said. Thank you, my lord. The 5 people kept kowtowing and saluting. You guys did me a favor. Take all the Divine Phoenix clansmen to Golden Crow City, Lai Shang said. My lord, the Lord wants us. The green-robed leader wanted to speak, but hesitated. Your lord, this seat will go to him. You can rest assured, Lai Shang said. Thank you, my lord. We will immediately give the order, the green-robed leader said. Lai Shang smiled coldly and blocked the way of several people. Don't worry, this seat still has something to say. Lai Shang walked straight to Huang Liuli and said with a smile, Demon Emperor, do you know why this seat is looking for you? If you want to kill, then kill. Don't talk too much. Huang Liuli snorted coldly. Have a little backbone. That's interesting. If you don't want to know, this seat will tell you. If you want to blame someone, blame Huang Rumeng. It's that bitch who killed my father. I want her to taste the pain of losing her family. This seat will torture you to death one by one in front of her. At this point, Lai Shang looked up to the sky and laughed, as if he was crazy. It took him a long time to calm down. Looking up, he saw Huang Liuli's eyes flickering. Great, Ming, you're actually okay. Huang Liuli laughed. Lai Shang was taken aback, and his anger surged. Damn it! Lai Shang raised his palm and was about to slap over, but his figure couldn't help but stagnate. On his face, there was a look of incomparable fear. The godly cunning immortal is here. Damn it! Must escape first. On Lai Shang's forehead, fine beads of sweat overflowed. With a wave of his right hand, he grabbed an old man from the void. Spare me, spare me. The old man knelt in front of Lai Shang. His breath was like a gossamer, and only these 2 words came out of his mouth. Seeing this person, everyone looked startled. Golden Crow Old Ancestor? Everyone looked startled, their faces full of surprise. The Golden Crow Old Ancestor was actually tortured to such an appearance. The aura on his body had fallen to the Ascendant Realm. It's not impossible for me to spare you, Lai Shang said. My lord, please say it. I will do it all. The Golden Crow Old Ancestor kept kowtowing. It's very simple. Next, you will be this Demon Emperor. No matter what method you use, you must get Huang Rumeng to Golden Crow City. As for the man next to her, you must not get him, otherwise you will definitely die. Lai Shang said, My lord, I can promise, but my appearance, and before the words fell. Lai Shang waved his right hand, and a flame power enveloped the Golden Crow Old Ancestor in an instant. The strength on his body recovered rapidly. In addition, his appearance was also changing rapidly. In less than a moment, he looked exactly like Huang Yuli. Such a scene made everyone dumbfounded. They looked at Lai Shang with awe. You ministers, fully cooperate. Do you understand? Lai Shang's voice was cold. My lord, rest assured we understand. Xiang Tinji and the others knelt down and promised in unison. Okay, the 5 of you, accompany me to Golden Crow City first. Lai Shang waved his right hand and disappeared with the 5 green-robed men. Huang Yuli also disappeared with them. P.S. The small group created by the Dragon God yesterday, 9477828868. Currently, there are 27 little friends. Looking forward to your joining. Please come to QQ to read. Support the original. Chapter 307. Phoenix City in a Tea House. Recently, my eyebrows have been twitching non-stop. Did something happen? You still don't know? There have been several major events in Demon Ancestor Mountain recently. A mustache man stood up and said, "What major events?" The first one, within 100 miles of Tu City, turned into ruins overnight, and all the people inside turned into statues. My friend who went to buy the pills was scared half to death and quickly escaped from Tu City. The mustache man said. The mustache man said. The faces of the people at the table were full of fear. What? Still this kind of thing? What happened? Who knows? Recently, the entire Demon Ancestor Mountain is very turbulent. It's best to go out less. The mustache man lowered his voice and said mysteriously, "Why do you say that?" "Because the second major event is very terrible. Do you know Beluo City was almost swallowed by the space turbulence? If it weren't for young Master Sun Hao, I'm afraid Beluo City would also follow the footsteps of Tu City." The mustache man said. Young Master Sun Hao? Who is he? It's normal that you haven't heard of it. That day, the mustache man said word by word, making everyone's heart jump, as if they were on the spot. When the mustache man finished, the people at the table took a breath of cold air, and it took a long time to calm down. In this world, there is such a person, too powerful. There is a powerful person behind the space turbulence. No way. Such a person, if there's a chance, I must see him. Shock was written all over the faces of several people. Soon after, several people calmed down, and their eyes were fixed on the mustache man. Is there anything else? Yes, of course. The mustache man nodded and said in a low voice, in addition to the north, a major event also happened in the south. Let me tell you, Jinwu City, strange things happen one after another. The mustache man said, "What strange things?" "The people living in Jinwu City act very strangely, and they don't speak like walking corpses. Moreover, there is no power in those people. It seems that all their power has been swallowed. Don't talk about this, because the people who came back from Jinwu City all died inexplicably. The Dark Hand presumably doesn't want people to know." Hearing this, several people trembled with fear, and their faces were full of fear. Not far from them, Sun Hao and Huang Rumeng sat there, drinking tea by themselves. Not a single word of these words escaped his ears. After asking around for half a day, there was nothing useful. "Why don't we go directly to the palace?" Sun Hao said. "Yes, young master." Huang Rumeng nodded. The two of them stood up and prepared to take action. Clang. The sound of armor clashing against each other drew closer. In the blink of an eye, a team of Jinjiawi instantly surrounded the tea house. Through the window, he looked at the team of Jinjiawi. Everyone's expression changed slightly. These are the Demon Emperor's Imperial Guards. Why are they here? I'm not too sure, but from the looks of it, it doesn't seem like they're here to capture anyone. Wow, so cool. I didn't expect that even the commander of the Imperial Army, Xiang Taijun, would come personally. Is there a big shot in our tea house? Cries of surprise rang out continuously. Everyone's gaze was fixed on the leader who was walking at the very front. The commander was tall and sturdy, and his temperament was extraordinary. He exuded a domineering aura. This person was the commander of the Imperial Army, Xiang Taijun. Xiang Taijun quickly went upstairs with a dozen Jinjiawi without any pause and went straight to Sun Hao no, Huang Rumeng. Standing in front of Huang Rumeng, he knelt down directly. "Eldest princess, please forgive me for being late." From beginning to end, he didn't look at Sun Hao. In other words, in his eyes, Sun Hao was not enough to be feared. A trace of surprise flashed in Huang Rumeng's eyes, and she slowly took off the veil on her face, revealing her true appearance. Under the golden hair, the two pointed ears instantly attracted everyone's attention. With the big sapphire eyes, it was so perfect that it was suffocating. For a moment, everyone was stunned in place. It's really the princess. So beautiful. The beauty of the princess can't be described as the beauty of the princess. Everyone was dumbfounded in place, motionless. After a while, greetings to the princess. Everyone knelt down and kowtowed in salute. Rise, Huang Rumling said. Thank you, princess. Everyone got up and stood in place with their heads bowed, not daring to look directly. Princess, Xiang Tai-jun came forward. Demon Phoenix asks you to return to the palace immediately. Okay. Huang Rumling nodded and stood up. Sun Hao also stood up and followed closely behind. Stop. Xiang Tai-jun stopped Sun Hao. Who are you? Why do you follow the princess? Presumptuous. Huang Rumling shouted softly, and Xiang Tai-jun hurriedly bowed his head. This is my benefactor. Don't be presumptuous. Huang Rumling said. Princess, the demon emperor has ordered that the human race is not allowed to enter the palace. Otherwise, this lowly one's life will not be guaranteed. Xiang Tai-jun said. There is no basis for words. Do you have an order? Huang Rumling said. After seeing Xiang Tai-jun take out a token, Huang Rumling frowned and thought for a while, unable to choose. Sun Hao saw this scene and walked forward. Rumling, why don't I wait for you here, and you go to the palace? Okay, young master. Huang Rumling stepped forward, took out a universe ring, and handed it to Sun Hao. Young master, your things are all in this. Rumling, just take it. Sun Hao said. Young master, you should take it. You can sell wine here, so you won't be bored. Huang Rumling said. Hearing this, Sun Hao nodded. Rumling was really considerate, just in time to take this opportunity to collect full blessing points. Okay, how do I use this? Sun Hao asked. Young master, you first carry out the soul fusion recognition. Huang Rumling said. Soul fusion recognition? How do I do it? Release your thoughts on the universe ring. Okay. Sun Hao nodded, and his thoughts moved. In an instant, there was a connection with the universe ring. Everything in the universe ring clearly poured into his mind. The universe ring was big enough to accommodate a small city. The things piled inside were usually handed over to Rumling for safekeeping. Zither, chess, calligraphy, brush, ink, paper, inkstone, all in it. How do I take it out? Sun Hao asked. Young master, you only need to use your thoughts to take it. Huang Rumling said. Okay. Sun Hao's thoughts were released on an immortal crystal. An immortal crystal appeared in his hand in an instant. Then his thoughts moved again. Sun Hao was surprised to find that the immortal crystal returned to the universe ring. It was simply too fun. Young master, I'm leaving. Huang Rumling said. Okay, take care. Sun Hao nodded and smiled. Huang Rumling held back her tears. After taking a few steps forward, she turned around and quickly rushed to Sun Hao, throwing herself into his arms. Then, she raised her head and kissed Sun Hao on the mouth. At this moment, time seemed to stand still. Everyone around was stunned in place. That kind of shock, that kind of envy, that kind of jealousy was written all over her face. Xiang Tai-jun looked at this scene, and the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. A touch of cold, killing intent flashed away. He retreated to the side and waited quietly. Young master, you have to take care. Huang Rumling's face was full of tears. Rumling, it's not like I'm gone. When you're done, you can come to me. Sun Hao wiped the tears from the corner of Huang Rumling's eyes and said, In. Huang Rumling nodded heavily and walked forward quickly. Xiang Tai-jun followed closely, and before leaving, he looked deeply at Sun Hao. Sun Hao looked at Xiang Tai-jun and frowned slightly. Then, he looked at Huang Rumling's back with a complicated expression. Rumling, I can't cultivate now and can't help you. However, I believe you can solve everything, because you are the godly, cunning, immortal. Chapter 308. Wow! Everyone looked at Sun Hao, and their envious and jealous eyes kept sweeping over. The kind of sour jealousy enveloped all directions. It's really a flower inserted in cow dung. The princess actually likes humans. You can't say that. Look at that young master. He is quite handsome, and his temperament is extraordinary. Can being handsome be eaten? There is no power fluctuation in his body. He is just immortal. How can he be worthy of the princess? That's right, he didn't even open the soul space, and he still has to wear a universe ring. It's really funny. This is not what we can manage, and I think the Demon Emperor will not agree to this marriage. The sound of discussion continued. There were such words, extremely intense. There were even many people who came forward and wanted to compete with Sun Hao. However, Sun Hao is unmoved. Big Wolf, let's go and find a place to sell wine. Sun Hao walked out with Blood Wolf in his arms. Unless you compete with me, otherwise, don't think about leaving here today. That's right, unless you have a fair duel with me. Several strong men surrounded Sun Hao, and they had no intention of letting him leave. Big Wolf could kill these ants with a casual spit of its saliva. But because this was Phoenix City, killing people would leave a bad impression on the Demon Emperor. It was better to be low-key. Shopkeeper, don't you have a security guarantee here? Sun Hao roared, and the shopkeeper immediately ran upstairs. What are you doing? Behaving atrociously in my tea house? Don't you want to live? The shopkeeper scolded, and several strong men lowered their heads and got out of the way. Young master, I'm really sorry, please. Under the leadership of the shopkeeper, Sun Hao walked out of the tea house smoothly. Shopkeeper, thank you. These 3 bottles of wine are for you. After speaking, Sun Hao took 3 jade bottles and handed them to the shopkeeper. Thank you, young master. The shopkeeper picked up the jade bottle and threw it directly into the soul space without looking at it. Walking on the main street, looking at the bustling crowd, Sun Hao's eyes shone. He found a place at random, set up tables and chairs, and set up a sign, which read, "Selling immortal wine." Next to it, there was a small line of words, 10 immortal crystals per bottle, no bargaining, only Ascendant Realm and above to buy. Each person is limited to buy 3 bottles. The table was full of immortal wine. Woo! Blood Wolf lay on the ground, closing his eyes to rest. It looked like a snoozing puppy. If it weren't for Blood Wolf, he wouldn't have dared to sell immortal wine like this. After doing this, Sun Hao closed his eyes and waited quietly. However, there were many onlookers, but there was not a single buyer. What? A bottle of immortal wine costs 10 immortal crystals? Why don't you just rob a bank? Dark, really dark. 10 immortal crystals is enough for me to buy and drink immortal wine for a lifetime. What's wrong with this world? There are more and more black-hearted merchants. There's nothing to see. Let's go. A batch came and a batch left. Anyway, there was no shortage of onlookers in front of Sun Hao. Hearing this, Sun Hao shook his head slightly. If you don't know what's good for you now, you'll be crying later. He opened his eyes, stood up, and waved his brush. The price on the sign immediately changed from 10 yuan to 100 yuan. What? Immediately raised the price by 10 times. This guy's funny. No one wants to buy it for 10 celestial crystals. If someone wants to buy it for 100 celestial crystals, I will chop off my head and let him sit on it. If he sells a bottle today, I will die immediately. All kinds of ridicule kept ringing. Sun Hao was unmoved and quietly waited for the fated person. A moment later, "It's him," a voice sounded. Sun Hao opened his eyes and looked at the dozens of strong men in front of him. He couldn't help but frown slightly. The man in the lead was a teenager. He was dressed in a brocade robe and looked a bit temperamental. At first glance, he was the young master of a big aristocratic family. At least he was a little bit related to the royal family. In this Phoenix City, he must have some power. "Young master, it's him. It's him who kissed the princess." As soon as these words came out, it was like a stone stirring up 1,000 ripples. The whole scene exploded in an instant. What? This kind of silver thief can't be allowed to live in this world. The princess is the goddess in our hearts. He dared to kiss her, courting death. It's over, my princess was defiled like this, I want to die. At this moment, Sun Hao was condemned by thousands of people. Everyone pointed at Sun Hao and scolded him. Sun Hao looked at this scene, and his face changed slightly. "Big Wolf, wake up!" Sun Hao looked at Blood Wolf and kept shouting. Blood Wolf turned over. "Master, I'm here to deal with a group of ants. You don't have to worry. What, you can talk? Sun Hao was surprised. Master, I'm not talking. It's a telepathic voice transmission. I only need to think about it. Blood Wolf said. Sun Hao also tried to say, it's true. By the way, you don't have to make a move later. Just lend me your strength. Sun Hao said, yes, Master. After speaking, Blood Wolf fell asleep again. Master is really funny. You don't need to borrow my strength. After murmuring, Blood Wolf fell asleep and no longer paid attention. Sun Hao sat on the chair, closed his eyes, and looked calm. On him, the young man in brocade waved his right hand. There was an instant silence around. He came forward. Did you really kiss the princess? Sun Hao narrowed his eyes and said faintly, you're wrong. It was the princess who kissed me. As soon as these words came out, the surrounding air was stagnant. The anger seemed to ignite the air, and the whole atmosphere heated up violently. The corner of the young man's mouth twitched slightly, and he took 2 steps back. He waved his hand. Damn it, go to hell for me. Dare to insult the princess like this, die. A group of strong men rushed towards Sun Hao in a hurry. The wind blew everywhere, and the air waves were like the edge. The terrifying power made people scalp numb. Seeing that, these people were about to hit Sun Hao. At this time, Sun Hao opened his eyes. Buzz! There was a roar. More than a dozen strong men who rushed over. Their bodies were fixed in midair, unable to move. They opened their mouths wide and muttered to themselves. Panic was written all over their faces. Their voices, as if blocked, did not come out at all. Boom! Boom! These dozen strong men's bodies all exploded and exploded into powder. After the wind blew, nothing was left. Those who stood in place. Only the young man in brocade clothes. At this moment, there was a dead silence all around. Everyone's expression was surprised and similar. That kind of stupidity and disbelief were written all over their faces. A moment later, hiss! The sound of inhaling cold air came one after another. Everyone took a few deep breaths and calmed down. Looking at Sun Hao's eyes, they were full of awe. Fuck, they're all dead? Who did it? I didn't see him do anything and he died. What's going on? Incredible. That young master must not be immortal at all, but a top master. Bao Sun is embarrassed now, and he kicked an iron plate. How can a person who could be liked by the first princess be immortal? You can think of it with your toes. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the young man in brocade clothes with a playful look. The young man in brocade clothes trembled slightly, standing in place, not knowing whether to advance or retreat. He took the lead and beat the few with many. It was unreasonable in terms of emotion, reason, and law. What should I do? The young man in brocade clothes stood in place, extremely embarrassed. Once he retreated, it would be a hard slap in the face. In the future, it would be difficult to get along in the Bao family. If he rushed forward, he was afraid that it would be a dead end. After some thought, the young man in brocade clothes looked at Sun Hao unwillingly. You wait for me. Leaving this harsh sentence, he left quickly. Did I let you go? At this moment, a sound rang out. The young man in brocade clothes just took 2 steps, and his body was fixed in place. Chapter 309. The youth in brocade turned around and looked at Sun Hao, his body trembling. He was horrified to find that his whole body's power was imprisoned and could not be used. What the hell is going on? Who was the one who sealed his own power? Could it be him? Impossible. He didn't even make a move. What do you want to do? The youth in brocade's voice trembled. Come and go as you please? You want to kill me, and you still ask me what I want to do? Aren't you kidding me? Sun Hao's voice gradually became cold. If he didn't kill the chicken to warn the monkey, wouldn't there be constant trouble? The youth in brocade's expression stagnated. You want to kill me? Do you know who I am? Hee. Sun Hao smiled coldly. Immediately, the youth in brocade was horrified to find that there was an irresistible destructive force in his body. No, a shout just sounded and stopped abruptly. The body of the youth in brocade burst apart and dissipated without a trace like smoke. Such a scene strongly stimulated the eyes of others. Everyone stared blankly at this scene, their faces full of astonishment. Dead? How'd he die? He is a direct descendant of the Berserk leopard clan, and his strength is extraordinary. The person that the first princess likes is really not simple. I didn't even see how he did it. Exclamations kept ringing. Everyone looked at Sun Hao, their eyes full of awe. Sun Hao turned a deaf ear to these voices. He stood up, looked at the onlookers, and smiled slightly. Everyone, I'm new here. You may not know my immortal wine yet. Here, a free tasting event is held. Anyone who has 300 immortal crystals can drink a bottle for free. If you're satisfied, you can pay again. How about it? Sun Hao's voice was not loud, but it was extremely tempting. 300 immortal crystals for ordinary monster cultivators was an astronomical number. However, this was Phoenix City, and there were really many rich people. Young master, are you really satisfied before you pay? A rough man took the lead to step forward. Sun Hao smiled slightly, nodded and said, Of course, after drinking, if you are not satisfied at all, you can leave immediately. I will never embarrass you. Okay, young master. The rough man's eyes lit up, and without thinking, he took out 300 immortal crystals and handed them to Sun Hao to check. Okay. Sun Hao picked up a bottle of immortal water and handed it to the rough man. The burly man opened the jade bottle with a curious look on his face. Instantly, his eyes turned cross-eyed as he stared at the jade bottle, unable to react for a long time. His voice was trembling, and his whole body was trembling with excitement. Why aren't you drinking? Sun Hao's voice awakened the rough man. Young master, I will drink it immediately. He trembled as he held the jade bottle and drank it in one gulp. After he finished drinking, he stuck out his long tongue and licked the bottle clean, not leaving a single drop behind. He closed his eyes and quietly felt the surging power in his body. Kacha! The sound of beans exploding rang out. The rugged man's cultivation base was rapidly rising. 5th step ascension, 6th step ascension. 1 step half immortal, 2 step half immortal. It only stopped when it reached the 8th step of the half immortal stage. He stood where he was, trembling with excitement. For a moment, he couldn't come back to his senses. The onlookers were also rooted to the spot, shock written all over their faces. My ancestor, he actually advanced from the 4th step of the ascendant realm to the 8th step of the half immortal. Is there something wrong with my eyes? A bottle of immortal wine has such an effect? This is a dream. I regret it so much. Why didn't I buy it with 10 immortal crystals just now? Now, I can't afford it even if I want to. Exclamations kept ringing out. The onlookers quickly swarmed over, and in an instant, the rough man was squeezed out of the crowd. Young master, I'll buy 100 bottles. Young master, I'll buy 1,000 bottles. Young master, I'll buy as much as you have. One by one, they all presented the immortal crystal bags, extremely respectful. When Sun Hao saw this scene, a bunch of black lines appeared on his forehead. All of you disperse from me. This sound was not loud, but it made everyone's scalp numb, and they quickly retreated. Those who want to buy immortal wine, line up for me. Pay attention. Each person is limited to 3 bottles. And that person, are you satisfied with it? If you're not satisfied, you can leave immediately. These words jolted the rugged man back to his senses. He stepped forward and nodded repeatedly. Young master, I'm so satisfied. This is 400 immortal crystals. In addition to what I just drank, I want to buy 3 bottles. The rough man said excitedly. 3 bottles at most? Can't you read? Sun Hao pointed to the sign and said, Young master, I'm sorry. The strong man took back the 100 immortal crystals, bought 2 bottles of immortal wine, and strode away. On his face, there was uncontrollable surprise written. The people in line were all excited when they saw this scene. The immortal wine sold by the young master is not simple. I know. He must be young master Sun Hao. What? He is the young master Sun Hao who saved Beiluo City. No wonder. What saved Beiluo City? What are you all talking about? You still don't know? Beiluo City suffered a great danger and was almost swallowed by the spatial turbulence. As a result, young Master Sun Hao just stared at it, and the spatial turbulence retreated. So terrifying? Hiss! The sound of gasping kept ringing. Everyone looked at Sun Hao's eyes with a bit of awe and admiration. I don't know if young Master Sun Hao has a Tao companion. He is so handsome, so strong, and the immortal wine he sells is so good. This is really a perfect Tao companion. I like it so much. No, my heart belongs to young Master Sun Hao. In this life, except for young Master Sun Hao, I will not find a Tao companion. Don't think about it. Young Master Sun Hao has a Tao companion for a long time. She is our eldest princess. Hearing these voices, Sun Hao's face did not change, but he was ashamed at his heart. Because of the existence of the communication talisman, in less than 10 days, the news of him in Beluo City was spread here. He was just a mortal, and he didn't have that ability. At that time, he was scared half to death. It must be Ru Meng who stared back those black hair. Young Master, are you really young Master Sun Hao? A female demon cultivator came forward, her 2 rabbit ears trembling slightly, her face excited. Seeing Sun Hao nodding, everyone's face showed a bright light. He is really young Master Sun Hao. Such a strong person really came here. I can see him, and by immortal wine, it is really a great fortune. So excited. My heart can't stand to see such a peerless person. It seems to stop beating. The sound of explosions kept ringing. The rabbit-eared female demon cultivator looked at Sun Hao with a fiery face. Young Master, do you have a Tao companion? After saying this, the rabbit-eared female demon cultivator lowered her head, her face blushing. Tao companion? He didn't even have the blessing point now. If he couldn't cultivate, how could he find a Tao companion? Even if he wanted to find one, naturally, it would be Ru Meng first. We only sell immortal wine here. Don't talk about other things. Sun Hao said. The rabbit-eared female demon cultivator nodded. Young Master, I'll buy 3 bottles. Okay. The money and goods were settled, and the rabbit-eared female demon cultivator took out a communication jade slip and threw it on Sun Hao's table. Young Master, this is my communication jade slip. After speaking, the rabbit-eared female demon cultivator quickly left. When Sun Hao reacted, there was no trace of her. Sun Hao looked at the communication jade slip and shook his head secretly. Too famous. This is really, Sun Hao secretly thought. Fortunately, the female demon cultivators here were not so fanatical, and their quality was very high. Otherwise, if he was pressed to the ground by them, the consequences would be unimaginable. Sun Hao weighed the jade slip and finally put it in the universe ring. Young Master, I'll buy 3 bottles. A female cultivator's voice awakened Sun Hao. Okay. Ding, blessing point +3. Hearing the prompt sound, Sun Hao was in a good mood. Young Master, this is my communication jade slip. After speaking, the female demon cultivator also left quickly. Sun Hao was dumbfounded. If he received that kind of communication jade slip on him, wouldn't he be killed by the vibration? No, he must not accept it anymore. It would be bad if Rumung was jealous. Thinking like this, Sun Hao stood up. Everyone, please don't send any more communication jade slips, otherwise I won't sell immortal wine. With this sound, many female demon cultivators lower their heads, their faces full of pity. Ding, blessing point +3. Such prompts kept ringing. Sun Hao looked at the blessing point panel, his eyes shining. If this goes on, it won't be long before I can collect 300,000 blessing points. I don't know what will happen after the blessing point reaches 300,000. Sun Hao's eyes showed a look of expectation. P.S. Group 9477828868. Looking forward to you joining. Chapter 310. Phoenix City, Imperial Palace Hall, Eldest Princess, please. Xiang Taijun made an inviting gesture. Yes. Huang Rumeng nodded slightly and walked into the hall without any hesitation. The minister stood on both sides, each person's aura surging, pressing down on Huang Rumeng together. However, Huang Rumeng's expression did not change as she indifferently walked inside. He stood in front of Huang Yuli. No, it would be more accurate to call him the Golden Crow Ancestor. How dare you? Kneel before the Demon Emperor. Xiang Tinji pointed at Huang Rumeng and shouted, Are you talking to me? Huang Ruming slowly turned her head and looked at Xiang Tinji, staring at him until his expression changed slightly. What a sharp gaze. Since when did this girl develop such a temperament? I was actually scared by her. That's impossible. Xiang Tinji took a few deep breaths and calmed down. How dare you? This old man is a dignified state minister. Aren't you afraid that the demon emperor will punish you for being disrespectful by speaking like this? Xiang Tinji said. Huang Rumung smiled coldly, waved her right hand, and instantly slapped out. Phew! Xiang Tinji's body flew out uncontrollably, crashing heavily onto the ground. He kept struggling, but was unable to stand up. Pooh! He spat out a mouthful of blood. He was heavily injured in one blow. Such a scene strongly stimulated everyone's eyes. They stared blankly at Huang Rumung, full of disbelief. A dignified, profound immortal didn't even have the chance to struggle in front of Huang Rumung. The problem was that no one could see how Huang Rumung made her move. Moreover, she only heavily injured the state minister. Not even the slightest bit of damage was done to the ground. This kind of power control was truly terrifying. What realm had she reached? How terrifying! For a moment, everyone was stunned on the spot and did not move. Xiaoming, it's great that you're back. The voice of the Golden Crow Ancestor broke the silence on the throne. Huang Ruming smiled coldly and walked towards Golden Crow Ancestor step by step. Old Ancestor Golden Crow looked at Huang Rumung and his heart trembled, but his expression did not dare to change at all. Quickly come over, let Mother take a look. You have truly suffered. Golden Crow, Old Ancestor said. Mother? Qi Bing, is the throne something you can sit on? Huang Ruming's voice was cold. Ancestor Golden Crow's body trembled, and he immediately revealed his true form. Before he could react, his body flew out uncontrollably and landed heavily on the ground. Bang! His bones were broken, and his entire body was riddled with scars. Fresh blood flowed from the wound, drenching his body. Thud thud, Huang Ruming walked toward Golden Crow Ancestor step by step. Every step was like stepping on the Golden Crow Ancestor's chest, causing his body to tremble. What do you want? The Golden Crow Patriarch's expression changed drastically and was extremely ugly. If you come any closer, I'm going to attack. After saying that, Golden Crow Ancestor waved his right hand. Buzz, a jade seal floated out from his hand. The jade seal exuded a power that could tear everything apart as it pounced towards Huang Ruming. The palace's formation shook violently, as if it would shatter at any moment. The terrifying might caused everyone's scalps to go numb. Huang Ruming stood in place and stretched out her hand unhurriedly. Phew! The power of the jade seal had completely dissipated. The entire scene instantly quietened down. The demon seal is actually in your hands? Huang Rumung held the demon seal, revealing a touch of anger. I'll give you a chance. Tell me, where's my mother? The Golden Crow Patriarch's body trembled. Without thinking about it, he knelt in front of Huang Rumung. Eldest princess, spare my life. Your mother is in Golden Crow City. You must not go there, otherwise your life will be in danger. If you want to go, it's best to bring God. The words were not finished. Dare to betray this seat, Dai. A booming sound shook the entire palace, causing it to buzz and tremble. Immediately afterward, phew, a stream of light flew from the void. In an instant, it entered the brow of the Golden Crow Patriarch. No, boom, two sounds rang out at the same time. The Golden Crow Patriarch's body directly exploded into powder and disappeared on the spot. Phew! In the middle of the palace, a blood-colored phantom condensed and formed. He was Lai Shang. Lai Shang floated in the air, smiling at Huang Rumung. You really want to know why this seat wants to kidnap your mother, right? Are you very confused about everything? Lai Shang said. Looking at Lai Shang, Huang Ruming's face was full of doubts. I have no grievances with you. Why did you kidnap my mother? Huang Ruming's expression was calm, but her heart was surging with killing intent. It's very simple. You come to Golden Crow City, I will tell you in detail. The cold laughter made people have goosebumps all over. By the way, you can't bring the godly cunning immortal, otherwise You will never see your mother again." After saying this, Lai Shang's figure slowly disappeared. Huang Rumeng didn't speak, and even her expression didn't change. She turned back and glanced at the crowd of ministers. Suddenly, everyone trembled, bowed their heads, and did not dare to breathe. There was a trace of fear on everyone's face. "It's none of my business, it's none of my business." Seeing Huang Rumeng's gaze sweeping over, Xiang Tinji waved his hand repeatedly and moved back in horror. Huang Rumeng waved her right hand and put away the demon's seal. Then, she looked in the direction of Sun Hao. "Young master, I will go to my mother first." Huang Rumeng stretched out her hand and stretched forward. Buzz! The air shook up layers of ripples. Her whole body drilled into the ripples and disappeared. Seeing Huang Rumeng leave, the ministers collapsed to the ground, and beads of sweat rolled down. On their faces, there was a joy of surviving a disaster. On the streets of Phoenix City, in front of Sun Hao, the line was getting longer and longer. Ding! Blessing point +3. Sun Hao stared at the blessing point panel, motionless. There's still 3 more points to reach 300,000. This time, there should be some changes, right? Sun Hao muttered to himself. Ding! Blessing point +3. After this sound, buzz, a sound shook in his mind. Kacha! On Sun Hao's body, it seemed that some kind of membrane was torn open. At this moment, the scenery in front of him changed rapidly. Now he was in a starry sky. In front of him, there was a star shining with dazzling light. Sun Hao squinted his eyes. After adapting to the light, he looked ahead. His pupils contracted, and his face was huge. He saw that outside the star, there was an incomparably huge palm. In other words, an indescribable giant was holding this star. Even if it was far enough away, Sun Hao could clearly sense the heat emitted by that star. Playing with a star in one's hand was simply unheard of. What kind of monster is this? Sun Hao muttered to himself, shocked. Suddenly, boo! The flames on the star flew up and went straight into the dark universe. After a while, 2 fiery red eyes stared straight at Sun Hao. The size of the eyes was the size of dozens of stars. Under the eyes, there was a huge mouth. Like a black hole, it was swallowing the flames above the star. Buzz! On the giant's body, bursts of fiery red light lit up, flashing and extinguishing, very regular. On his body, a wave of air swept in all directions. One by one, the stars, like rotten wood, quickly burst apart. Whoosh! Pieces of dust, bursting out at an incomprehensible speed, rushed towards Sun Hao. The huge debris blasted on Sun Hao in an instant. At this moment, Sun Hao's body collapsed and disappeared on the spot. His consciousness returned to his body. Sun Hao's face showed a look of shock. His heart felt like it was hit by a tsunami, and he couldn't calm down for a long time. What the hell was that scene just now? Is this a monster from the depths of the universe? Why is it so terrifying? Why can I see it? Is this some kind of memory? The more he thought about it, the bigger Sun Hao's head became. Uneasiness was written all over his face. If it was really a monster from the depths of the universe, it would be an indescribable disaster for the 3 realms. Just a little spread of power could blow up countless planets. If a punch was blasted out, wouldn't it blow up a star field? If this monster came, who could survive? Hiss! Sun Hao took a few breaths of cold air. It took him a long time to calm down. It's terrifying. Could it be that my mind is wandering? Does this have anything to do with the blessing point reaching 300,000? Sun Hao secretly wiped his cold sweat, showing a look of fear. Suddenly, young master, I'll go find my mother first. In his ear, Huang Rumeng's voice sounded. Rumeng? His eyes swept around, but he did not find Huang Rumeng. What's going on? Sun Hao looked around with a puzzled face. Could it be that Rumeng used some kind of secret method to transmit her voice to me? Sun Hao thought secretly. Young master, I'll buy 3 bottles. Young master, I'll buy 3 bottles. The man said 3 times in a row. I heard it, I'm not deaf. Sun Hao took out 3 jade bottles and handed them to the man. Thank you, young master. The man took the jade bottle and retreated with a face full of joy. P.S. Group, 947782868. Looking forward to you joining. Chapter 311. Phoenix City, Divine Elephant King's Residence. Father, slow down. Xiang Taijun supported Xiang Tinji as they entered the hall. After sitting down, Xiang Tinji let out a few long breaths and showed an expression of lingering fear. Jun, pass down my order. Immediately evacuate from Phoenix City, Xiang Taijun said. Father, why? Xiang Taijun was puzzled. We can't stay in Phoenix City. No, we can't stay in the entire demon ancestral mountain. We must immediately go to the Penglai continent and leave the purple sun star. A solemn expression appeared on Xiang Tinji's face. Father, you should at least tell me the reason, Xiang Taijun said. Huang Ruming's strength has reached an extremely terrifying realm, Xiang Tinji said. No matter how powerful Huang Ruming is, can she be more powerful than Master? Xiang Taijun said. Shut up, Master my ass. He's a devil. If he wins, I dare say that the entire Phoenix City will be plunged into misery and suffering. Everyone will turn into his tools and become monsters that are neither human nor ghost. Don't you know anything about Golden Crow City? Xiang Tinji's words caused Xiang Taijun to break out in a cold sweat, fear appearing on his face. If Huang Ruming wins, we won't have a chance to survive. Therefore, we can only run, Xiang Tinji said. Father, I'll make the arrangements immediately. After Xiang Taijun finished speaking, he quickly retreated. When he arrived at the government office, Xiang Taijun frowned. I'm not willing to leave just like that. The first princess is a peerless beauty. How can we let him off so easily? You dare to kiss the first princess. If I don't show you how powerful I am, do you really think I'm a sick cat? Xiang Taijun thought to himself as he clenched his fists. Not long after, Commander, an armored guard quickly came over. What is it? Xiang Taijun asked. Commander, look. With that, Guard took out a jade bottle and handed it to Xiang Taijun. What is this? Commander, you'll know once you open it. Open? Puzzled, Xiang Taijun opened the jade bottle. After looking inside, his pupils shrank and his face was filled with shock. There's actually such a divine brew in this world. Xiang Taijun took the jade bottle and drank it in one gulp. Instantly, Kacha! His cultivation level immediately broke through from the yellow immortal stage to the mystic immortal stage. Not only that, but his mental state and talent had also improved significantly. He stood in place. Xiang Taijun was so excited that his body was trembling slightly. He broke through after being stuck for 100 years. Moreover, my state of mind and talent have at least doubled. There's actually such a divine brew in this world. What if I have 10, 100, or even 1,000 bottles? The more he thought about it, the more excited Xiang Taijun became. It was a long time. Only then did he calm down. Where did you get this? Xiang Taijun looked at Guardian A and asked. Commander, this is my... Guardian roughly explained the situation. You mean this is being sold by a human named Sun Hao? Is he someone that the first princess has taken a fancy to? Xiang Taijun asked. Not bad. Guardian nodded. Commander, it is said that this young Master Sun Hao saved everyone in Beiluo City. Hearing this, Xiang Taijun frowned slightly. Unexpectedly, he turned out to be Sun Hao. This was a little difficult to deal with. Could this immortal brew have been brewed by him? Impossible. How can there be such a strong person in this world? The first princess seems to have told him to let him sell wine. Could it be that she is talking about this kind of immortal brew? It is impossible for the first princess not to know the importance of this kind of immortal brew. There is only one possibility to sell it at such a low price. That is, this thing could be brewed by Sun Hao. Thinking of this, Xiang Taijun took a few breaths of cold air. If such a character was controlled in his hands, wouldn't the entire demon ancestor mountain, no, Xiang star be under his control? The more he thought about it, the more excited Xiang Taijun was. For a while, he couldn't calm down at all. After a few long breaths, Xiang Taijun felt a lot better. However, to be able to brew this kind of immortal wine, his strength must not be simple. Let's test it first. Thinking like this, Xiang Taijun looked at Garde. How is Sun Hao's strength? Commander, unfathomable. Garde said. Why do you say that? Xiang Taijun asked. Commander, you don't know, when young Master Sun Hao first started selling immortal wine, Wild Leopard family Bao Sun had trouble with him, but they were all dead. No one could see how young Master Sun Hao did it. Speaking of this, Garde's face showed a look of fear. Hearing this, Xiang Taijun frowned, his face full of thought. For a long time. That's the only way. You come here. Commander, what orders do you have? You go down immediately. Yes, Commander. Phoenix City, on a street. In front of Sun Hao, it was densely packed with people. Ding, blessing point +3. Hearing such a prompt, the corner of Sun Hao's mouth rose, and he looked proud. If this goes on, it won't take long to sell out the immortal wine on him. At that time, the blessing point can reach 500,000. If he brews another 500,000 bottles of immortal wine, he can reach 1 million blessing point. He can obtain a supreme physique and open the road of cultivation. What? Top-grade immortal crystal? Are you kidding? Suddenly, an explosion sounded from the crowd. Swish! Everyone's eyes were fixed on it. They saw that a green-haired man lowered his voice. Shh! Keep your voice down. Keep your voice down. Say quickly, what top-grade immortal crystal? We all heard it. If you don't say it, don't think about leaving here today. The green-haired man showed a face of fear and waved his hand again and again. Everyone, I'll say it. I'll say it. You must not tell anyone else about this news. This news is leaked from the royal family. It is said that the royal family found the top-grade immortal crystal mine vein in the Demon Burial Mountain Range. According to the survey, there are at least tens of millions of top-grade immortal crystals in this mine vein. As soon as these words came out, there was dead silence all around. Everyone couldn't help but dig their ears, extremely surprised. Hiss! The sound of gasping came one after another. You're lying. Tens of millions of top-grade immortal crystals? Can Xiang Star have it? Yes. With so many top-grade immortal crystals, why doesn't the royal family go and mine them? Also, isn't the Demon Burial Mountain Range an immortal king forbidden area? How did you manage to explore such a large vein? Voices of doubt sounded constantly. When the green-haired man heard these words, he smiled awkwardly and waved his hand again and again. Everyone, if I knew, why would I still be here? The green-haired man said, Humph, this news was released by you. If you don't give a reasonable explanation, don't think about leaving here today. Yes, dare to lie to us like this? Unforgivable. A group of people surrounded the green-haired man. Looking at these unfriendly gazes, the green-haired man broke out in a cold sweat and waved his hand again and again. Everyone, please spare my life. Looking at this, everyone was about to beat this green-haired man up. At this time, what he said is true. Chapter 3:12. He's telling the truth. This voice instantly attracted everyone's attention. The one who spoke was a man in a blue robe. What's real? Do you have any proof? That's right. Who doesn't know how to brag? I think you two are in cahoots. Facing the criticism of the crowd, the blue-robed man did not care in the slightest. He stood there with a calm expression on his face. He waited for the crowd to calm down before he spoke. The Demon Burial Mountain Range is not some celestial king forbidden zone that you speak of. The innermost layer with a circumference of 5,000 kilometers is the forbidden zone for immortal kings. As for that top-grade immortal crystal vein, it just so happens to be in the middle area. Relatively speaking, it's relatively safer. According to the great Taoist master's exploration, there are indeed tens of millions of supreme-grade immortal crystals inside. The blue-robed man spoke word by word, voicing everyone's doubts. Empty words. Do you think we're stupid? That's right. You want to trick us into the Demon Burial Mountain Range? No way. The blue-robed man smiled and said, It's up to you whether you want to believe it or not. However, I will tell you another piece of news. The royal family knows that this secret has been exposed and is currently recruiting minors. Anyone who has reached step 5 of the half-celestial stage can sign up. It is said that those who can come out alive after working for a year will be rewarded with 100 top-grade celestial crystals. As soon as these words came out, silence, dead silence. The expressions on everyone's faces kept changing. Words could not describe the astonished look on his face. 100 supreme-grade immortal crystals? My God, 100 million. 100 supreme-grade celestial crystals were equivalent to 100 million low-grade celestial crystals. It's a fortune that you can't earn in 10,000 lifetimes. Even if you have so much, you'll need to be alive to spend it. The Demon Burial Mountain Range is filled with savage beasts and is incomparably terrifying. It is said that there are countless immortal-tier savage beasts there. Do you want to go in and die? Die? What was the point of living without money? Wasn't cultivation all about a glimmer of hope? Where can I register? The sound of discussion kept ringing. For a time, he could not calm down at all. In front of Sun Hao, the people lining up were getting fewer and fewer. Everyone clustered around the blue-robed man, like stars cupping the moon. One piece of supreme-grade immortal crystal was equivalent to 1 million pieces of low-grade immortal crystals. In the face of such a huge amount of wealth, it would be strange if one was not tempted. Sun Hao listened to this and frowned slightly. A supreme-grade immortal crystal mine? This purple sun star was so barren. So how could it possibly produce top-grade immortal crystals? Could there be a conspiracy behind this? Sun Hao thought secretly, and his eyes swept to where the blue-robed man was. They saw. The blue-robed man smiled and said, "It's at the entrance of the Imperial Palace. If you don't believe me, you can go and have a look." Would the Imperial Palace lie to you? Hearing this, many people rushed to the palace. In just a few breaths' time, the entire street was mostly empty. The blue-robed man smiled slightly. After glancing at Sun Hao, he followed the crowd and walked quickly. "Sire, my strength is still too low. I can't go at all. What are you afraid of by young Master Sun Hao's immortal wine? And you will be able to improve immediately." Yeah, why didn't I think of that? Soon, everyone rushed to Sun Hao. However, they had only taken a few steps. Clang! A series of clanking sounds of armor rang out. A group of Jinjiawi rushed over and stood in different places. They used their divine sense to transmit their voices into the ears of the beast cultivators. If anyone dares to buy his celestial wine again, they will be going against the divine elephants, going against young Master Tai Jun. When these voices reached the ears of those beast cultivators, their faces were full of fear. They reluctantly retreated and left this place. Soon, in front of Sun Hao, there was no one left in the queue. There were only a few people watching in the distance. Looking at this scene, Sun Hao frowned slightly. When the Jinjiawi appeared, no one bought the celestial wine immediately. Everyone seemed to be afraid of them. In that case, he would change places. Thinking like this, Sun Hao put away the tables and chairs, held the blood wolf, and quickly left. Along the way, there were Jinjiawi standing on both sides of the street. There were obviously fewer pedestrians on the road than not long ago. Hey, it seems that I can't sell for the time being. Let's go to the tea house first to inquire about the situation. Thinking like this, Sun Hao walked into a tea house. After sitting down, he began to listen carefully. Phoenix City was so big that not everyone knew Sun Hao. After glancing at Sun Hao for a while, they continued to talk. Most of the things they talked about were about the imperial family's recruitment of miners. Everyone was brimming with enthusiasm and excitement. For a long time, this heat gradually dissipated. Big event, big event. At this time, a shout came from downstairs. Immediately afterward, a man in cyan clothes ran up quickly. His shout immediately attracted the attention of many people. What big event? Say it quickly. Tell you, the Demon Emperor is missing. As soon as these words came out, many people took a breath of cold air. They knew very well what the disappearance of the Demon Emperor meant. Such a major event was likely to cause the entire Phoenix clan to fall into chaos of power struggle. What can we do? Let's leave Phoenix City first and avoid the limelight. It seems that the top-grade immortal crystal mineral vein must be fake. The people who were drinking tea stood up one after another, full of fear. Listen to me first, don't rush to leave. Don't worry, the situation is very stable. Let me tell you, the strength of the first princess is infinitely close to the immortal king. As soon as she made a move, she suppressed everyone, and no one dared to rebel. Hearing this, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Can't you finish it all at once? It really scared me to death. That's right, it's too scary. In the battle for the royal family, won't we little demons be cannon fodder? The man in cyan clothes smiled awkwardly, showing a very embarrassed look. Tell you, the disappearance of the demon emperor is actually to the demon burial mountain range. When the first princess learned of this, she personally took people to find the demon emperor. The man in cyan clothes said, "What? So, didn't the first princess go to the demon burial mountain range? You can say that. With a strong person like the first princess leading the way, can we also go to the demon burial mountain range?" Listening to this, Sun Hao frowned slightly. On his face, there was a thoughtful look. Coincidence, too coincidence. I always feel like someone deliberately let me go to the demon burial mountain range. Who the hell is it? Suddenly, Sun Hao raised his eyebrows. It's definitely him, Xiang Tai-jun. At that time, after Roman kissed him, Xiang Tai-jun was next to her. At that time, he took a deep look at himself. Presumably, at that time, he already bore a grudge in his heart. Moreover, he was the commander of the Imperial Army. Wasn't it him who mobilized the Golden Armor Guards? This step could be said to be carefully designed, but it was full of loopholes and couldn't stand any deliberation. Since he was targeted like this, then it wouldn't be Xiang Tai-jun. That was impossible. I'd like to see what tricks you were playing. Sun Hao's face showed a cold smile. P.S. Group 947782868. Looking forward to everyone joining. Chapter 313. Divine Elephant Palace in the main hall. Commander, everything is under control. In front of Xiang Tai-jun, the deputy commander stood respectfully in front of him and said with a smile. Hearing this, Xiang Tai-jun raised the corner of his mouth, and his face was full of pride. Sun Hao, as long as you go to the Demon Burial Mountain range, you will not return. Although it's a pity that you die, the universe ring on your body will definitely fall into my hands. At that time, all the immortal wine in it will be mine. Xiang Tai-jun thought secretly, and his face became more and more proud. His own plan could be said to be intertwined. First, he used the name of the Demon Emperor to spread the news of the top-grade immortal crystal mine vein. This kind of thing, as long as you get a piece, you will become a rich man. Greed was a weakness of human nature, and monster cultivators were no exception. Even if the news was fake, everyone would believe it due to their greed. This was just the first step of attacking the heart. Presumably, Sun Hao would also be extremely excited when he heard this news, right? Top-grade immortal crystal? Even if there is such a good thing in the small purple sun star, it will not be our turn. Xiang Tai-jun smiled and shook his head. The above was just the first step. The second step was naturally not to let people buy the immortal wine on him. Otherwise, if it was all sold out, where could he get it? If he couldn't sell the wine, he would be bored. When he was bored, he would think of the immortal crystal mine. His heart must be extremely excited. He began to help again and spread the false news of Huang Ramen. This news was true and false, and it was extremely difficult to distinguish. Even if Sun Hao was strong, presumably because Huang Ramen was in danger, he would rush to the Demon Burial Mountain range. Thinking of this, Xiang Tai-jun was extremely proud. I am really a genius. I can actually think of such a perfect plan. Sun Hao, you will definitely fall into my hands. Buzz, suddenly there was a shock. The deputy commander took out a communication jade slip, and his face changed slightly. Commander, that kid is gone. The deputy commander said. What? Gone? Aren't all our people in the city? How could we lose him? Xiang Tai-jun's face changed slightly. When he looked up, he saw a young man in white standing at the door. In his arms, he was holding a little red puppy. He walked towards Xiang Tai-jun step by step, and every step he took seemed natural and looked particularly comfortable. It was Sun Hao. He stroked the blood wolf while walking towards Xiang Tai-jun. His calm expression made him seem like a king who had everything under his control. You've racked your brains to get me to the demon burial mountain range. What's your purpose? These words caused Xiang Tiejuan's body to tremble and his expression to change dramatically. What are you talking about? What demon burial mountain range? I don't know what you're talking about. You trespassed into the prince's palace. How should you be punished? Xiang Taijun pointed at Sun Hao and shouted. Hee. Sun Hao smiled slightly and calmly walked to a chair and sat down. You sure know how to act. My time is limited. I can't be bothered to explain it to you. Tell me your purpose. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. His voice wasn't loud, but it was full of vigor. Xiang Tiejuan's expression kept changing. For a moment, he did not know whether to advance or retreat. To be able to save the entire Northfall city, this person's strength was indeed not simple. If she had known this would happen, she wouldn't have set her eyes on him. Wouldn't it be better to just buy it? It's all my fault for being too greedy and wanting to obtain everything. I used the greed of others, but I was blinded by greed myself. On Xiang Tiejuan's face, there was a look of regret. Dare to be so disrespectful to the great commander, courting death. Xiang Taijun was stunned for a moment, but he saw that the deputy commander had already rushed forward. Xiang Taijun was taken aback by the terrifying aura. Don't! Xiang Taijun waved his hand, but there was no time to stop him. Buzz! The deputy commander's long spear blasted out, shaking up layers of airwaves. Sun Hao touched the blood wolf and raised the corner of his mouth. As soon as he raised his head, he stared directly at the deputy commander. Immediately, boom! The deputy commander who rushed over, his body fell to the ground, lying directly in front of Sun Hao, as if he was kowtowing in salute. The deputy commander raised his head slightly and looked at his embarrassing scene. All the reason in his heart was replaced by anger. He stared at Sun Hao with blood-red eyes. Damn kid, he just struggled to get up. Gotcha! The sound of bones breaking sounded. The deputy commander lay on the ground again, shivering. Even if he used his whole body, he couldn't move a finger. Terrifying power enveloped his whole body. For a while, he couldn't move at all. The deputy commander murmured for a long time, but he didn't spit out a word. If you want to kill me, you must be prepared to be killed. The words came out. Boom! The deputy commander's body exploded, directly burst into dust, and he couldn't be more dead. Such a scene strongly stimulated Xiang Tiejuan's nerves. He looked at Sun Hao as if he was looking at a monster. With just a glance, the deputy commander had no strength to struggle. With just one sentence, the deputy commander directly exploded into dust. This level of strength, even an immortal venerable, could not do it. Although the deputy commander was only in the yellow immortal realm, he was also an immortal. What he cultivated was still the strongest cultivation method of the physical body, the divine elephant overpowering strength. Plop! Without any hesitation, Xiang Taijun knelt in front of Sun Hao and kept kowtowing. My lord, I was wrong. Please spare my life. I didn't let him do it. He asked for it. Xiang Tiejuan's head knocked heavily on the ground. You have self-knowledge. I will give you a chance to live. Say, why did you take me to the demon burial mountain range? Sun Hao looked at Xiang Taijun coldly. My lord, it is this lowly one who deserves to die. I took a fancy to the immortal brew you brewed. Listening to Xiang Tiejuan's words, Sun Hao's face gradually became cold. Xiang Taijun knelt on the ground, shivering. My lord, this lowly one deserves to die. This lowly one deserves to die. I shouldn't covet your immortal brew. Spare my life. Spare my life. Xiang Taijun looked like he was crying bitterly. On Sun Hao's face, there was only cold, killing intent. So, the demon emperor is really missing? Sun Hao asked. My lord, yes. He was kidnapped by No, Lai Shang. Xiang Taijun said. Who is Lai Shang? Sun Hao asked. My lord, he is a member of the Golden Crow clan, very powerful. He said that he wanted to kill all the Divine Phoenix clan in front of Huang Runman. It is said that it is because Huang Runman killed his father. Xiang Taijun told everything without hiding anything, for fear that Sun Hao would not be satisfied. Lai Shang? Sun Hao frowned slightly, A hint of killing intent flashed away. I want to see how capable you are. In that case, I will come and meet you. Sun Hao touched Bloodwolf with a confident face. He was the strongest buff. Even if he couldn't fight, he could enhance Ruming's buff, right? Also, giving Bloodwolf could also enhance the buff. At that time, 2 against 1. Could it be that Lai Shang could still go to heaven? Hearing Sun Hao's words, Xiang Tiejuan's face changed drastically. My lord, you must not. Why? Sun Hao frowned. Lai Shang said that as long as you go, kill all the people of the Divine Phoenix clan immediately. Hearing this, Sun Hao's figure stagnated. Chapter 314. All right, I understand. I'll spare your life for now. However, you must remember, if you dare to take even half a step out of Phoenix City, your divine elephants don't need to exist in this world. After speaking, Sun Hao took a step and left quickly. Yes, my lord. Xiang Taijun nodded repeatedly. After leaving the Divine Elephant King's mansion, Sun Hao came to Phoenix City with Bloodwolf. You don't want me to go, but I'm going. This Lai Shang must be afraid of me. Since that's the case, I'd like to see how capable you are. In Sun Hao's eyes, the killing intent rose. Phew! With a thought, the immortal boat flew out and landed in front of Sun Hao. He carried Chuelang and walked into the immortal boat. Coming to the control room, Sun Hao took out the carving knife. Then I'll set up some concealment formations. This way, it won't be easy for Lai Shang to discover me. Also, play a few more songs for Big Wolf. The stronger it is, the safer we will be. After some thought, Sun Hao made a decision. Then, he took the carving knife and began to carve. Demon Ancestral Mountain, Golden Crow City. Huang Rumeng walked in from outside the city gate, staring coldly ahead. They saw, in Golden Crow City, a bloody mist covered the surroundings. From time to time, the faint smell of blood would enter his nostrils. How, from time to time, the low roars of monsters could be heard coming from the city. The depressing atmosphere became even more oppressive. Thud, thud. Huang Rumeng's speed did not decrease as she walked toward the city step by step. The blood mist quickly surged forward, but it was blocked by his body. It looked like a shield had formed around his body. Suddenly, swish, a piercing sound rang out. A golden crow rushed over and stretched out its sharp claws to grab Huang Rumeng. Oomph! Huang Rumeng snorted coldly. With a thought, a wisp of flame floated in front of her. He aimed at the golden crow and shot towards it. Bang! There was a dull explosion. The golden crow fell to the ground, twitched a few times, and then stopped moving. A ball of flame began to burn from the inside out. After a while, on the ground, there were only 3 red feathers left. Huang Rumeng did not stop and continued to walk forward. Swish! Several air-piercing sounds rang out. Several golden crows rushed towards Huang Rumeng. Front, back, left, right, every position was sealed. Buzz! The collision created layers of airwaves. Wherever the shockwave passed, the house would directly collapse in a fine powder. Huang Rumeng's expression was calm. She stretched out her right hand unhurriedly, and a wisp of red flame moved at her fingertips. Buzz! There was a tremor. The flame split into 4 and shot out in 4 different directions. Bang! 4 muffled explosions sounded at the same time. The 4 golden crows fell to the ground, motionless, as if bombs had exploded in their bodies. The flames burned in his body, leaving only a few fire feathers on the ground. Thud, thud. Huang Rumeng's footsteps did not stop. Along the way, all the golden crows that charged forward were burned to ashes without exception. Not long after Huang Rumeng left, a figure sneakily walked into Golden Crow City. This person was Ujizi. He hid behind a house and poked his head out to look around. He appeared very cautious. Suddenly, his eyebrows twitched, his pupils contracted, and his heart beat violently. Golden Crow, Flame Feather? Ujizi's face was filled with excitement as he looked at the 3 fire feathers on the ground, motionless. Each golden crow had 3 flaming feathers. This thing was extremely resistant to fire and was the best material for making defensive magic treasures. Every one of them was very precious and worth a lot. Such a good thing was just left here. Also, why was there no one in the entire city? Conspiracy. It must be a conspiracy. Trying to lure this old man into a trap? It's not that easy. Ujeezy thought to himself as he hid in the corner, motionless. A quarter of an hour passed. A wave of restlessness surged through his body. The 3 fire feathers on the ground had an extreme temptation, attracting Ujeezy to walk forward step by step. Suppressing his violently beating heart, Ujeezy quickly picked up the fire feather, and his figure flashed back. He took the fire feather and carefully stored it in his soul space. Looks like I was thinking too much. There's no trap at all. Continue. Thinking like this, Ujeezy continued forward. After a few steps, Ujeezy's expression froze, and he quickly crouched down. Not far away, there were 12 fire feathers strongly stimulating his eyes. These fire feathers were obviously stronger than the 3 from before. However, the surrounding ground had been flattened, and many houses had been destroyed. It was obvious that there had been an intense battle here. He had to be careful. After turning into a crouching demon for a quarter of an hour, Ujeezy could no longer remain calm. The thirst for treasures in his heart quickly burned away his rationality. He walked in front of the fire feather like a zombie and picked it up. Finally, he stored it in his soul space. There is no danger. Looks like I was thinking too much. This time, Ujeezy's expression was calm as he continued forward. Not long later, he stood in front of a deep pit, his face full of shock. In front of him, the houses were all over the place, and all kinds of debris were scattered around. In the deep pit, hundreds of fire feathers strongly stimulated Ujeezy's nerves. I'm rich. His body trembled slightly with excitement. He did not hesitate. He quickly rushed over. With a wave of his right hand, all the fire feathers were stored in his soul space. I didn't expect that my luck would turn for the better. The heavens are really helping me. Ujeezy muttered to himself and almost laughed out loud. He calmed himself down and continued his search. Not long later, he saw a fire feather. The kind of fiery red light was extremely tempting. Without a second thought, he rushed forward and picked them all up. I'm really rich. These fire feathers are obviously much stronger. They can be sold for at least dozens of immortal crystals. I can at least forge 2 magic treasures. Ujeezy let out a long breath. Just as he was about to move, he looked up and his pupils constricted. His expression changed drastically. He saw that in the blood mist, a bright red light strongly stimulated his eyes. This light floated in midair. Such a bright fire feather. I'm afraid it's an immortal level fire feather. Ujeezy's heart seemed to jump out of his throat. At this moment, he could no longer remain calm. Without thinking, he rushed forward, grabbed it, and put it back. He was horrified to find that this fire feather could not be taken back. He squinted his eyes and couldn't help but feel his scalp go numb. Without any hesitation, Zhang Xian retreated. However, before he could retreat a few steps, he found that his whole body seemed to be imprisoned, unable to move. Master, this disciple missed you so much. A scalp-tingling sound rang in his ears. At this moment, Ujeezy's body trembled involuntarily. What do you want to do? Ujeezy's voice trembled. Lai Shang appeared in front of Ujeezy in an instant, his face full of smiles. Master, I almost forgot about you. I didn't expect that you would run in front of me again. In this disciple's mind, I remembered those happy past events again. This disciple is really grateful to you. I'll give you a massage now. Lai Shang smiled and walked forward. No, don't come over. Boom. I don't hit the face of you animal. Do you want to make this old man die without descendants? Shrill screams sounded continuously. Chapter 315. Huang Rumeng stood in place, calmly looking ahead. On his face, there was only cold, killing intent. In front of her stood 5 green-robed men. Every single one of them exuded the aura of an immortal realm. You want to stop me too? Call Lai Shang out. Otherwise, don't blame me for starting a massacre. Huang Rumeng said. First princess, it looks like you're really ambitious. If I were you, I definitely wouldn't do that. At the very least, I would investigate thoroughly. Do you think that just because you're a heavenly immortal? Before the green-robed leader could finish speaking, he was horrified to find that his body flew out uncontrollably and fell into Huang Ruming's hands. Huang Ruming's right hand looked weak, but it had a tremendous force that made the green-robed leader unable to struggle. He was sure that if he moved recklessly, his neck would be crushed and he would die miserably on the spot. You talk too much. Speak. Where's my mother? Huang Ruming's voice gradually turned cold. Eldest princess, I really don't know. The green-robed leader's face was full of bitterness. I advise you to let me go and quickly escape. Hee, 5 tortoises. You don't even want your shells anymore. As soon as these words came out, the expressions of the 5 green-robed men changed drastically. You can tell that we are from the Divine Turtle Clan? The green-robed leader looked surprised. Humph! Huang Ruming coldly snorted and threw the green-robed leader to the ground. Then, she waved her right hand and a tortoise slowly appeared. This person was the patriarch of the Divine Turtle Clan, Xianlao. Xianlao's face was ashen and his eyes were lifeless. Seeing Xianlao, the 5 green-robed men knelt on the ground at the same time. Greetings, old ancestor. Hearing this, Xianlao's lifeless eyes regained some clarity. Why are you here? Xianlao asked. Ancestor, under the orders of the Lord. Shut up. Xianlao shouted, and the green-robed leader immediately shut his mouth. You still call that kind of monster master? Pooh! You guys don't even want your armor anymore? What a bunch of bastards. Xianlao turned into his human form, pointing at the 5 of them and scolding them. The green-robed men were dumbfounded, their faces full of disbelief. Old ancestor, if it wasn't for you, shut up. Hurry up and greet the eldest princess, Xianlao shouted, causing the green-robed men's expressions to change. They knelt down under the puzzled gazes. Greetings, first princess. Get up. Thank you, princess. The 5 of them stood up and stood in front of Xianlao, their faces filled with doubt. Old ancestor, what exactly happened? Only the first princess can save my divine turtle clan. Speaking of this, Xianlao walked in front of Huang Ruming, cupped his fists and bowed. Eldest princess, please forgive me for my previous disrespect. Seeing this, Huang Ruming was startled. Xianlao, what exactly happened? First princess, a green-furred ape-like monster has come to our clan. It's extremely powerful. Even I am no match for it. It threatened and enticed us to deal with the divine phoenix race. There's no other way. I can only seek help from the Dragon Lord and borrow his limitless stillness to deal with the divine phoenix ancestor. As he said this, Xianlao lowered his head, his face full of shame. Since the green-hair monster is so powerful, why didn't he personally take action? Huang Ruming asked. First princess, this is what I don't understand as well. But I don't dare to ask. Thinking about it, it should be because he is afraid of some kind of cause and effect. Xianlao said. Huang Ruming's face was full of doubt. Then why are you in cahoots with Lai Shang? Huang Ruming asked. Eldest princess, there's no other way Lai Shang found the Lord. No, the green-hair monster, and made some kind of agreement. We became his slaves and were ordered around by him. The green-robed leader said. Lai Shang, the green-hair monster? What do they have to do with the destruction of Tu City? Who was it that destroyed Tu Mountain? A series of questions filled Huang Ruming's mind. However, there was no time to think about this now. What she needed to do now was to save the Queen Mother. Lai Shang, I'm here. Are you still going to hide? Huang Ruming's voice was faint, resounding throughout the entire Golden Crow City. Kiki, gloomy laughter sounded from all directions. Good. You dare to betray this seat. Looks like your divine turtle race doesn't need to exist in this world. Hearing this, the green-robed men's expressions changed greatly. They nodded to each other and suddenly attacked. Bang! One of them directly pierced through Xianlao's chest and pulled out old ancestor Xianlao's heart. Then, with a gentle pinch, it was crushed into powder. Xianlao pointed at the green-robed leader, his body twitching, his face full of unwillingness and disbelief. The green-robed leader took off the mask on his face, revealing his true appearance. On his face, There were green bumps, densely packed, making people's scalp tingle. On these green bumps, there was a metallic luster, looking indestructible. Although you're the old ancestor, but you are disloyal to the Lord, this is the result. Our strength is all given by the Lord. It's impossible for us to betray him. Your time has passed. You can rest assured and go. The green-robed leader's face was full of pride. You will regret it. After saying this, Xian Lao fell directly to the ground, twitched a few times, and then there was no movement. On the other side, four green-robed men pounced straight at Huang Ruming. Ding! For a moment, the sound of metal colliding rang out continuously. Huang Ruming was beaten back repeatedly. First Princess, thank you for giving us time. After saying so much nonsense, we can use this kind of divine skill. First Princess, don't make a useless struggle. You are not our opponent. Our physical body is invincible. In this world, there is no physical body that can resist us. The four green-robed men said as they fought. Their voices were full of pride. Huang Ruming smiled coldly. I underestimated you. Only using one part of my strength to fight with you. It's time to use 3 parts of my strength. Who doesn't know how to talk big? Let's see the real deal. The 4 people rushed forward, aiming at Huang Ruming, and it was a chaotic punch. Huang Ruming's hand was like a whirlwind, fast to the extreme, and in an instant, it hit the 4 fists at the same time. Immediately, boom, boom, for explosions sounded. The 4 green-robed men looked at the fists in their hands in horror, their eyes full of disbelief, only to see that the 4 fists, all exploded into powder, disappeared without a trace. This is impossible. How could he shatter my fist? This is definitely a dream. Our physical body is definitely the strongest. Fake, it must be fake. Ouch, it hurts. The Lord said that our physical body is the strongest. How can his words be fake? After a while, for mournful screams, shaking the sky, lingering for a long time. P.S. Group 947782868. Looking forward to your joining. Chapter 316. Die. Huang Ruming snorted coldly, her face full of cold, killing intent. She stretched out her finger and pointed forward. Swoosh, swoosh. 4 air-piercing sounds rang out. 4 wisps of chi strength shot out quickly. No. The 4 unwilling cries stopped abruptly. Boom, boom. The 4 green-robed men fell down unwillingly. Above each person's eyebrows, there was a hole pierced through. Green liquid trickled out of the holes. It was a miserable sight. When the green-robed leader saw this scene, his face showed horror, and his body trembled violently. Without thinking about it, he turned into a stream of light and flew toward the sky. Want to run? Huang Ruming smiled coldly and grabbed with her right hand. Buzz! The space trembled, and the green-robed leader's body flew out uncontrollably. No, don't. No matter how he struggled, there was no use at all. In an instant, he fell into Huang Ruming's hand. Spare me. Eldest princess, spare me. The green-robed leader's face was full of begging for mercy. Since you want to choose to betray, you must have the awareness of death. After speaking, Huang Ruming's right hand exerted force. No, I was forced. Before the words fell, the green-robed leader's neck broke, his head tilted, and there was no movement. Well done. They really deserve to die. If you want to see this seat, this little strength is not enough. Don't worry. Take your time. We have plenty of time. Lai Shang's voice came from all directions. After the laughter, on the ground, the blood mist rushed up. In an instant, it wrapped the entire Golden Crow city. The blood mist was as thick as blood, stopping everything. Swoosh! The blood mist twined and circled rapidly, stacking on top of each other. In the blink of an eye, it formed 4,000-meter-tall, blood-colored giants. The aura of the heavenly immortal realm emanated from the blood-colored giants, sweeping the world. Howl! For roars, earth-shattering. Huang Ruming looked at this scene and frowned slightly. Sizzle! A wisp of electricity continuously shot out from her fingertip, emitting a heart-palpitating aura. Go! Huang Rumeng pointed with her right hand, and these electric lights split into four, rushing out in four directions. In an instant, it landed on the bodies of the four blood-colored giants and exploded. Buzz, after a loud sound, the four blood-colored giants exploded into mist and disappeared without a trace. All of the bloody mist of Golden Crow City evaporated. Huang Rumeng stood in place, coldly glancing around. Phew! Within the city, a bloody mist surged once more. In the blink of an eye, Golden Crow City was once again impenetrable. Not bad, not bad. He's very strong. Next, let's play something a little more difficult. If you don't have this ability, many people will die. Look, after this sound. Phew. In the sky, a barrier suddenly surged up, and a scene appeared in front of Huang Rumeng. In the image, tens of thousands of people were tied to pillars. These people were all from the Divine Phoenix race. They opened their mouths wide and let out soundless screams. Behind them, spikes slowly pierced into their bodies. You only have half an hour to find them and rescue them. Otherwise, once the heart is pierced, then prepare to collect their corpses. The laughter was faint and lingered for a long time. Arrogance, revenge, all kinds of emotions were contained in it. Who are you? You and I have no hatred in the past, no hatred today. Why do this? Huang Rumeng asked. No hatred. Huang Rumeng, you killed my father. You don't remember, right? Hearing this, Huang Rumeng frowned, revealing a thoughtful look. After a while, he seemed to think of something. You are the son of Liang Golden Crow? It seems that you still remember. Lai Shang said. He wanted to kill me. I just killed him. Since you want to avenge him, then you must be prepared to die. Huang Rumeng's voice was cold. Die? With just you? Come on. The good show begins. After saying this, the surroundings returned to calm. Huang Rumeng snorted coldly and instantly disappeared. When she appeared again, she had already appeared in the sky picture. She saw. She waved her right hand. Beams of light flew up from her fingertips and flew everywhere. Boom! The chains binding everyone's bodies broke inch by inch. Everyone regained their freedom. When they saw Huang Rumeng, they were stunned. Princess? Surprise, shock, disbelief, all kinds of expressions were written on everyone's face. The princess is a waste? Such terrifying strength. How is she a waste? Too powerful. Our clan is hopeful. Many people stood in place, excited. Thank you for saving my life, princess. Everyone knelt on the ground and kowtowed. No, don't move. Wait for me here. After speaking, Huang Rumeng's figure flickered and disappeared. When she appeared again, she came to a cave. In the cave, hundreds of people were tied up. These people were all elders of the Divine Phoenix clan. Among them, Huang Yuli was among them. Mother Queen, Huang Rumeng shouted, tears streaming down her face. Huang Yuli's strength had been devoured clean. Now, she was like a cripple, sitting there, motionless. Compared to the demon emperor who suppressed the demon Ancestor mountain, it was countless times worse. Hearing Huang Rumeng's voice, Huang Yuli slowly opened her eyes. First, she was shocked, then happy, then worried and frightened. Using all her strength, Huang Yuli did not shout a word. Huang Rumeng's body trembled slightly. The corner of her mouth twitched, her heart aching. She waved her right hand and pulled out the iron spike that pierced into Huang Yuli's body. Then, she removed the restriction on Huang Yuli's body, hugged Huang Yuli, tears streaming down, Mother Queen. Run, run quickly. Huang Yuli's voice was hoarse, her face full of anxiety. Mother Queen, don't worry. I'm here to save you. Helping Huang Yuli to sit on a chair, Huang Rumeng released her aura. Boom! The iron chains tied to the clansmen all shattered. Seeing this scene, Huang Yuli opened her mouth wide, muttering for a long time without coming back to her senses. Meng, are you? What realm have you reached? Huang Yuli asked. Mother Queen, I'm now a sky immortal, Huang Rumeng said. Hearing this, Huang Yuli gasped, her face full of joy. First Princess, thank you for saving our lives. A group of clansmen swarmed over, surrounding Huang Ruming. Gratitude was written all over everyone's face. Big sister. At this time, a cry of surprise sounded. Looking over, a girl in a red robe was running over quickly. This person was Huang Ruming's younger sister, Huang Zaidi. Big sister, thank you for saving us. Huang Zaidi shouted loudly, throwing herself into Huang Ruming's arms. Huang Yuli looked at this scene, her face full of smiles, seeing the two sisters being so harmonious. I'm also relieved. Suddenly, Huang Yoli's eyebrows twitched, her pupils shrank, her expression changed greatly, and she shouted, "Be careful." But there was no time, only to see. After Huang Zaidi threw herself into Huang Ruming's arms, the corner of her mouth raised into a cold smile. Her right hand quickly turned into a sharp blade, aimed at Huang Ruming's chest, and stabbed in. This sudden scene caused everyone's pupils to contract and their expressions to change drastically. Stab! The sound of metal stabbing into flesh rang out. Chapter 317. A group of people stared blankly at this scene, their faces full of disbelief. Even Huang Yuli, at this moment, was full of horror. Unexpectedly, her youngest daughter turned out to be such a monster. Be careful, Huang Yuli roared. But there was no time. Stab! The sound of metal piercing into flesh rang out. One of Huang Ruming's hands poured into Huang Zaidi's chest and came out from her back. The other hand, two fingers pinched the sharp blade, and no matter how she struggled, it was useless. Big sister, you are so ruthless, you actually want to kill me. I'm your younger sister, your half-sister. Huang Zaidi was not affected in the slightest and said, Sister, are you worthy? My sister is long dead. Huang Ruming waved her right hand. Boom! From top to bottom, Huang Zaidi's entire body directly exploded, exploding into a pool of green pus, flowing everywhere. Such a scene directly scared everyone in place. In a moment when they were stunned, the green pus surged rapidly, forming a small snake, and quickly rushed towards everyone. In an instant, it seemed to fall on every Divine Phoenix clan member. Swoosh! The green pus drilled into their nostrils and disappeared. In less than a moment, everyone's eyes all turned dark green. The cold light from the eyes made people's scalp numb. Even Huang Yuli was no exception. Her eyes turned dark green. Everyone stood up straight and rushed towards Huang Ruming like zombies. Jia. Everyone opened their mouths at the same time, letting out a burst of strange laughter. My good sister, didn't you want to kill me? Come on, I'll stand here, let you kill. Come on, cut from here, I won't struggle. Everyone raised their necks, waiting for Huang Ruming to cut. As you wish. Huang Ruming snorted coldly, waved her right hand, and a guqin floated in front of her. Zheng! The sound of the guqin vibrated out from Huang Ruming's fingertips. It spread to everyone's ears. At this moment, everyone's eyes recovered a trace of clarity. Then they hugged their heads, fell to the ground, screaming loudly. Zheng! As the sound of the guqin continued, everyone's screams became more intense. In other words, they screamed in unison, as if they were the same person. Beep! Drops of green pus flowed out of their bodies. Finally, they gathered together and formed the shape of a girl. However, compared to before, this girl had clearly shrunk by half. Stop playing. The green monster clutched its head and fell to the ground, screaming in pain. Sizzle. His entire body was emitting wisps of black smoke. Stop playing. Please stop playing. I'm your sister. No. How can you be so heartless? The Lord won't let you off. The green monster let out a shrill scream. His body shrunk smaller and smaller as he was engulfed by the zither music. In the end, he turned into a wisp of black smoke and disappeared without a trace. Only after the zither music stopped for a long time did everyone open their eyes. Looking at Huang Ruming, his gaze was filled with gratitude and worship. Xiaomeng, what happened just now? Huang Yuli asked. Mother Empress, little sister, died a long time ago. That person just now should be a subordinate of some existence. Huang Ruming said. Dead. Huang Yuli staggered as tears streamed down her face. Although she was born from Xiang Tinji and herself, she was still a part of him. It would be a lie to say that she was not sad. Mother Empress, you have me in the future. Huang Rumeng held Huang Yuli's hand tightly and said, "And." Huang Yuli nodded and looked at Huang Rumeng with an apologetic face. "Meng-er, you can call me Mother from now on. Mother is sorry. I made you suffer." Huang Yuli said, "Mother, don't say that. If it weren't for you, I might have died." Huang Rumeng said, "Meng-er." Huang Yuli hugged Huang Rumeng tightly. Suddenly, a burst of hearty laughter rang out. This sound was very abrupt. "You really didn't let me down. You really have a deep mother-daughter relationship. This is a little interesting." A fiery red figure slowly condensed and stood in front of Huang Rumeng. This person was Lai Shang. The corner of Lai Shang's mouth rose, revealing an expression of control over everything. "Huang Rumeng, today I will kill them one by one in front of you. I want you to feel helpless. I want you to know the pain of losing a family member." Ha! Lai Shang looked up to the sky and laughed crazily. "Mother, you step back and rest first. Leave the rest to me." Huang Rumeng took 2 steps forward and looked at Lai Shang coldly. "Humph!" Huang Rumeng snorted coldly, and the electric light on her fingertips kept running. Boom! In an instant, it blasted on Lai Shang's body. Lai Shang screamed again and again, struggling frantically. It looked like he was being tortured. "It hurts, it really hurts. You are so ruthless." Lai Shang's screams gradually turned into a smile. He waved his right hand. Z. The electric light that had just been used kept running on Lai Shang's fingertips. The light of thunder tribulation, not bad. It seems that the thunder tribulation giants are licking the godly cunning immortal. However, if you want to deal with me with this little ability, isn't it still a bit lacking? Lai Shang smiled and was complacent. Huang Rumeng frowned slightly. "You actually reached the venerable immortal realm." Huang Rumeng said, "Yo, you have a bit of vision. Next, we should have a good time." After saying that, Lai Shang waved his right hand. Huang Yuli and the others flew up uncontrollably and were all imprisoned in the air. "Huang Rumeng, I will give you the right to kill whoever you want me to kill. What do you think? You only have 3 breaths to think about it. If the time is over, I will kill her." Lai Shang pointed at Huang Yuli, his face full of pride. Huang Rumeng stood in place, her face changing. Looking at Huang Rumeng's expression, Lai Shang was extremely proud. "Now the time starts. Senior, it seems that you need to take action." After saying this, quack, a duck cried. Immediately afterward, a 9 heavens god Luan flew up from behind Huang Rumeng and slowly rose into the air. When Lai Shang saw this scene, his scalp couldn't help but explode, and his whole body's hair stood on end. He looked at the 9 heavens god Luan, and his face changed again and again. How could he not know the 9 heavens god Luan? Back then, he had been to the residence of the godly cunning immortal. He clearly remembered the aura of those powerful big shots. The 9 heavens god Luan was among them. He used a lot of secret methods to sense on Huang Rumeng's body to confirm that there was no aura of the godly cunning immortal, as well as the aura of those big shots before he made his move. So careful, but he still fell into the trap. It seemed that the hidden means of those big shots were extremely not simple. "Kid, I haven't seen you for a few days, and you're jumping up." The pressure of the 9 heavens god, Luan, imprisoned Lai Shang like a tsunami. At this moment, it was extremely difficult for him to move a finger. His teeth chattered, and his body trembled. "Say, Senior, you still have the face to call this seat Senior. I haven't beaten you for a few days, and you're already so arrogant. Last time I spared your little life, and you got a little inheritance, and you're so arrogant. If you're really allowed to grow up, then wouldn't this world be destroyed by you? Madam, kill him," the 9 heavens god Luan said. As soon as these words came out, Lai Shang was like sinking into hell, despair like a tsunami, enveloping his whole body. I said, "You have to have the awareness of death." Huang Rumeng walked over step by step, her face full of cold, killing intent. "You, don't come over, I'm going to use a big move. If you push me too hard, No one will think of getting better. Lai Shang roared angrily. However, Huang Rumeng was unmoved. In an instant, she stood in front of Lai Shang. She stretched out that seemingly weak palm and grabbed at Lai Shang's chest.